Third straight win. He is the points leader so far in this series. Denny Hamlin, a native Virginian, grew up coming to the grandstands as a kid, and he'll try and keep pace. 19-year-old Chrissy Wallace with her father as her spotter and advice from Tony Stewart making her truck debut. It rained earlier today, bringing a chill to the air, but we're ready to roll. 250 laps around NASCAR's oldest track. NASCAR on Fox, bringing you trackside for opening ceremonies here in Martinsville, Virginia.
Race fans, at this time, please rise and remove your hats for today's invocation and our national anthem. Today's colors are presented by the Virginia VFW. For our invocation today from Raceway Ministries, John Fox.
Our Father, we thank you for this nation and for the men and women who serve around the world to ensure the freedom that we have to enjoy this race today. Father, we thank you for the management and staff of Martinsville Speedway. And I pray that you will give to each driver and crew member and official a clear mind and steady hands and controlled emotions that they may compete at their very best. Bless this race with safety and fun for all as we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
And now for our national anthem, the Martinsville High School Brass Ensemble.
3, 2.
NASCAR on Fox, and fans anxious to see trucks weighing 3,400 pounds going door to door, side by side, covering 3 laps per minute. That's music to our ears.
Not a big. Once they drop that green flag, you don't know what's going to happen. Oh!
Hiding sideways, almost dirt track racing in Martinsville.
Our Hollywood Hotel trackside and truckside near turn 4 here at Martinsville Speedway. Temperatures in the high 40s, a chance of rain. So far, so good. We're glad you're with us. Former crew chief Jeff Hamlin, Chris Myers, thanks for tuning in. NASCAR on Fox, where America gathers every weekend for racing. Tomorrow, Cup Racing, 1:30 Eastern here on Fox. Jeff Gordon on the pole today. Jack Sprague, 3-time truck champ, set a track record. He's on the pole. But just because you race well in Cup doesn't mean you're going to have success here today.
Oh, no, you don't. It doesn't give you no kind of guarantees at all. Just because we see Denny Hamlin for a Tour de France, we also see Kyle Busch kind of like dominate this series early on. Mike Skinner, Ron Hornaday, and probably Rick Crawford are going to have something to say about that today. 6
former champions in the race. This is the 4th of 25 races in the Craftsman Truck Series.
And the green flag of the 2008 season, we're underway at Daytona. There's a problem right there. Kyle Busch, Mike Skinner get into it. The big one happens behind them. To the outside goes Kyle Busch, but it's time 09, crossing the start finish line. A dominant performance today by Kyle Busch. Another checkered flag is going to fly for the 51, winning the San Bernardino County 200.
Dan, good job right there, Busch.
Kyle Busch looking to make it back-to-back wins in the 2008 season. Kyle Busch wins the American Commercial Lines 200.
And a quick check of the points. Running third, Ron Hornaday, a three-time champ behind Busch and Todd Bodine. Kyle Busch, who starts 11th in the 51 truck today, the points leader in both the Cup and Truck Series. Excitable and exciting to watch, and he's with our Chris Devote.
When I talked to Kyle Busch in yesterday's happy hour, on a scale of 1 to 10, he said his truck was a 2 and then went to a 1. So, Kyle, where is your truck now?
Well, I mean, it wasn't too bad qualifying. I don't think we're as bad as I think we are. It's just, you know, the truck isn't as good as I expected it to be from how we tested here. It was really good, and we pretty much had to take all the changes we made here at the test, take them all back out and put it the way that we unloaded at the test. So kind of pointless to come up here and do that on a green racetrack the way it was and everything. But, you know, we learned some things to make it better, and now we learned some things to get it better back the other way. So we've just been all over the place. I mean, we wholesaled that thing twice yesterday and did it again right after practice, and coming into this morning before qualifying made a ton of changes again. So we'll see exactly what we have here today.
Okay, some would call him a pessimist, but in 3 races this year, 2 wins. His worst finish, 2nd.
Thanks, Krista. Wherever he races, always fun to watch. You know, some 19-year-olds more interested in the way Lindsay Lohan is driving, but that's not the case for Chrissy Wallace, daughter of veteran driver Mike Wallace. She's been racing since she was 9 years old. Chrissy is standing by with our Adam Alexander. Adam?
Chrissy Wallace makes her NASCAR debut here today at age 19, and ironically enough, your father Mike made his debut here in 1990. How special is this day for you?
You know, that's one of the most special parts is my dad got his first, he got his first start here. I'm getting my first start here in the Truck Series with Germain's. Got Geico and Mobile as our sponsor. It's a really big day. I'm excited. I think by the end of the day, we'll be up towards the front.
Now, your dad's spotting for you. I know he's been helping you all weekend long, but what about Tony Stewart, who stopped by to help yesterday? How much did he benefit you in the practice session?
He helped me a lot, you know. He has more experience than what I have, especially at this track. I only ran here in the late model before, and I was running a little bit too hard and was jamming up where I should be in the corner, and he would tell me, get on the radio, say, Chrissy, back off here, get on the gas here, and it was a big help, you know. I appreciate Tony doing that. It was during his break during practice, and it's something he didn't have to do.
Chris, Jeff, a moment Chrissy will never forget, starting 35th in her debut today here at Martinsville.
In the 3 truck, what kind of driving skill does Chrissy have?
She has got impressive credentials. She's always done well and always been able to win. Watch her. She could be a bright star.
Advice from Tony Stewart. You can't go wrong there. Let's get down to the track for the command. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure, starting their engines.
Exactly.
And now, race fans, for the most famous words in motorsports, our Grand Marshal today from Kroger Advertising, Carl York.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
Getting ready to race trucks here at Martinsville. We're big on celebrating anniversaries, and let's flash back 1 year ago here in Martinsville. I'm sorry, you all right? You know, we kid because we care. By the way, NASCAR impounded your chair. That's funny. You don't like that. I don't care who you are. That's not funny. That was.
I'm going to get Artie.
Yes,
I'm going to get Artie.
That's our director, Artie Kepner. Our producer, Barry Landis. They're behind it. I just bring the info.
I'm going to get you.
Yeah, you never know what's coming next. He'll stay at his seat for the whole race, I promise. We have Ken Schrader. It's the Craftsman Truck Series on Fox right ahead. Fox, glad to have you with us from Martinsville, Virginia, and the Craftsman Truck Series. We head up to the play-by-play booth. Darrell Waltrip, Bill Parsons, Rick Allen. You'll want to stay in your seats for this one, gentlemen. And DW's voice is back. Rick, yours never left, right? We're okay?
No, I didn't have a problem with my voice, but thank goodness we do have DW up here. 11 times you won the grandfather clock here, but this is a shorter race, 250 laps, just over 131 miles in this race. How do you strategize to win this race when you don't have very many changes?
You just can't let people hold you up. That's the biggest problem you have here. It's a right around the bottom racetrack, one groove really. So when you're running and you're faster than the guy in front of you, you've got no choice. You got to move him. you got to hit him lightly. You got to hit him slightly, but you got to hit him politely, too.
Well,
and get him out of your way so you can go on.
Now, we've had 3 races up to this point, but obviously everyone's played fairly nice. Are they not going to play nice here, Phil?
Well, those were big racetracks. We're talking about a 2.5-mile racetrack and a 2-mile racetrack and a 1.5-mile racetrack where you're running close to 200 miles an hour. These guys are going to run maybe 120 miles an hour. As Darrell said, there's going to be a lot of beat bang, and this is a very difficult racetrack to pass on. Track position is going to be extremely critical, and the best way to get good track position, if you can't do it with your pit strategy, is to knock guys out of the way and put them behind you, just like that. I'm sorry.
It's short track racing from Martinsville. Let's take a look at the Craftsman lineup. Jack Sprague set a track record in his qualifying effort earlier today. Denny Hamlin's going to start outside of him. I think the exciting thing here is Ron Hornaday, Jack's teammate, will start right behind him.
Oh, yeah, and that could be a plus, could be a minus. I mean, you know, if he's your teammate, you don't want to run down there and knock him out of the way. No. But Hornaday's capable of doing that, I might add.
It wouldn't be the first time.
No, it wouldn't.
We see Kyle Busch. He's going to start back in row 6. So it's going to be exciting to see if Kyle Busch can work his way from the the 12th starting position all the way up to the front.
Let's see if we can get a hold of Ron Hornaday here. Hey, Ron, it's DW up in the tower, buddy. Got a copy?
Copy, DW.
All right, you got your teammate in front of you there. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing?
Well, considering it's Jack Sprague, it's kind of a bad thing. Usually, the old days like to go in there and run into him, move out of the way, and lead the first lap. But I don't think that's our game plan. We got a pretty good truck here. We just have to ride it out. We just hopefully we can get past Danny here on the start. And now we'll see what we got for Jack down the road here. It's a long race.
Well, good luck, buddy. And, man, I hope you lead some laps today. I'm tired of harassing you about only leading 4 laps here at Martinsville.
Yeah, D-Dub, but I got some racetracks on here that you haven't led into either, so it's all right. This might be our day, but I appreciate it.
All right, man. Stand on the gas.
Is there a racetrack in America, DW, that you haven't led laps at?
Gee,
maybe in his backyard or something? He might have a racetrack?
I don't know. I've traveled around a lot, and, you know, every time you lead a lap at any track, it's fun. I can tell you that.
Joining us on pit road today for the broadcast, Matt Yoakum. Let's go down to him.
And DW already talked to Hornaday, half of the super team in the Craftsman Truck Series. Now, Kevin Harvick has talked to both Sprague and Hornaday, meeting in the mines, so to speak, to make sure no mistakes on pit road, but they've already turned in a super performance this weekend, starting 1st and 3rd. Now, they had one little struggle in practice. Collectively, they put their minds together, found the issue, and it really paid off in qualifying. But Sprague and Hornaday told me they are still a little concerned about the conditions, about 30 degrees cooler today than it was Friday in practice. And Delana Harvick told me they've never won a race here as an owner at Martinsville, and they've got a perfect place in the main lobby of the KHI shop to put that grandfather clock.
Oh, I'm sure they'll find any place to put that type of an award. Let's take a look at our race analysis for the Craftsman Truck Series. Again, I mentioned a short race.
It really is 250 laps, and you see the pit window is about 140 to 150 laps, and that's green flag laps. Most of these crew chiefs are talking about backing this race up from the beginning. You go to lap 250, and then you back up. You figure you can probably go 175 to 180 laps, knowing that you're going to get some caution laps. So most of these crew chiefs are talking about getting 70 to 75 laps in the books, and then maybe make their pit stop then, and they'll be done.
And another thing, Rick, is that aggression I was talking about, moving people out of your way. You got to be careful doing that. I think that's why some drivers that are really, really aggressive never win here. They get so many people working against them that they can't get anybody to work with them.
Let me throw one question at you. We've got 10 drivers that have never run a race at Martinsville, at least in a truck. Does that factor into your strategy, maybe either looking out for them or watching out for them?
Well, you know they're going to make mistakes. It's so easy to stick your nose in under somebody in turns 1 and turns 3, and that's what happens with these guys that have been here before. When you're slowing down, they think they can drive right in there under you and they run into you. So, yeah, a rookie or somebody that's never raced here, you got to keep an eye out for that.
You know, one thing, DW, I'm a little bit wondering about is the pit stall. That's the pit stall right there that Jack Sprague, our pole sitter, picked. He could have picked the very first pit down there at pit out in turn number 2, and he picked that opening right by that little small opening.
We got to get somebody down there to find out what that's all about, because that really is kind of goes against what conventional wisdom would be here in Martinsville.
I'm going to throw this out there. I'm pretty sure they picked pits before we came here. The pits were picked by owner points from a race ago.
Oh, that makes all the sense in the world.
And the field about to come out of turn 4, DW.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't do this at Bristol a couple weeks ago, but I'm all set today. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go trucking, boys and girls.
A fairly tame first lap here at Martinsville. We only saw one driver make it 3 wide in the first turn. That was Andy Lally. Now they spread out to 2 and single file lines around this racetrack.
Ron Hornaday wanted to get up there behind his teammate, so he moved Denny Hamlin out of the way a little bit. So Ron Hornaday right now right on the rear tailgate of his teammate Jack Sprague.
But I got to tell you right now, that 2 and the 33, those Harvick trucks, man, they're just putting a lot of distance between everybody else here on this start.
Again, we would predict that they would only need one stop, but at a short track truck racing, we're going to expect there could be 6, 7, 8 cautions today.
Oh, I think we'll have our fair share of cautions. It's just like I was saying, when you're going down into one of these corners and you're looking under a guy and he lets off because he's to the turn and you think you can stuff it on in there, that's when you have all these little cautions.
Punt a driver out of the way.
See Terry Cook right there on the inside of the 22 of Philip Magilton. There's Todd Bodine, the 30 truck, right behind him.
That's 3 Toyota Tundras running together. We've got the most Toyotas in a field.
Now, I don't know what this has got to be a little strategy here. I'm going to let you lead so you can get your 5 bonus points. What are they saying, Matt?
Exactly right, DW. Hornaday said a lap and a half ago, if I get to the outside, let me just lead a lap to get my bonus points. Game plan about ready to be executed.
And it just took place. Jack Sprague looking back to the inside. Kevin Harvick realizing both trucks now have been in front of this field. That makes it 5 laps led for Ron Hornaday, an amazing statistic.
I know he's getting aggravated with us, but I mean, it's so unusual for him to not lead any more laps than that it is a big deal.
It's amazing. He's the winningest driver in the Craftsman Truck Series. He's won on more short tracks than any other driver, and yet only led 4 laps prior to that one at this racetrack.
Great battle for third right here. That's Denny Hamlin right there in that 15 truck. Rick Crawford, former winner here in the 14, and rookie Brian Scott with a great qualifying effort right now running fifth.
And I'll tell you something, guys. When I see 2 trucks shoot out front like the 2 and the 33 are, it makes me wonder if maybe how are they going to be on the long run? Because I think what we're going to see is these 2 guys, Sprague and Hornaday, are going to slow down a tad, and here comes Denny Hamlin in that 15 truck closing in.
Little contact right there. Ted Musgrave, the 59, Eric Darnell, the 99. Remember, during qualifying, Mike Skinner told us he was a little bit too loose to qualify. Felt like he would give up something, and he did. He did not qualify his typical up front. He qualified 20th, but that may pay dividends later on.
Well, and unlike Cup racing, and these guys are impounded. So you race the way you qualify. Whatever setup you have in your truck, that's the way you've got to race it after you qualify. So sometimes you don't qualify well, but you race really good.
Kyle Busch started 12th in this race, currently running 10th, just behind that 6 of Colin Brown. Brown a little bit loose there coming off of 4.
That Kyle Busch is one guy that likes it up front. He likes to get up front no matter what he's driving, whether it's a Sprint Cup car, a Nationwide car, or one of these Craftsman Series trucks. He wants to be up front and frequently is.
Matt, is he speaking highly of his car or his truck right now?
It's been pretty quiet, but he wasn't speaking too highly of the way it was handling. In fact, before qualifying, Rick, they changed everything setup-wise on this truck. He said, we need to roll the dice. We haven't hit it yet. We've got to see it. Maybe we can just throw a dart in the dark long enough. You're going to hit something, and maybe they feel like they have. They qualified pretty well.
And what a run he's been making. The past 5 Truck Series starts, he's never finished worse than 2nd.
That's not too bad. As we see Ted Musgrave move to the inside of Travis Quaffle to take over that position. That is the battle for the 18th position right there. There's Matt Crafton, the 88 Menards Chevrolet, right behind him on the inside now of Travis Quaffle.
See, another thing that makes this truck racing a little more difficult is you don't have any chance to get in the pits and work on it. I mean, what you got, a lot of times of what you got, I mean, there's a chance that you're going to stop one time, put a little fuel in it, not even change tires. So if that should happen, you better have it right when they drop the green flag.
Jack Sprague, Ron Hornaday seem to have it right on the early goings here from Martinsville. Sprague, Hornaday, 1 and 2 at Martinsville.
Craftsman Truck Series Racing on Fox is sponsored by Craftsman. Craftsman tools are the official tools of NASCAR, Craftsman at Sears, and by Can-Am ATV. The ride says it all.
Welcome back. Jack Sprague coming up on slower lap traffic now. That driver, Brent Raymer, making his first ever start. And we see Kyle Busch making a pass on Colin Brown. He's been somewhat tame up to this point.
Yeah, I think he's. I don't think he's thrilled with his truck.
2 right now on throttle. He does have the fastest lap of the race so far, about 0.02 of a second faster than both Sprague and Hornaday have run on their fastest lap. But he's moved all the way up to the 8th spot there. You know, these trucks get a little harder to pass the closer you get to the front as well.
Oh, yeah, and the speeds are so close to the same. Everybody running about the same speed.
Oh, Digger just got run over.
Poor old Digger, and he likes truck racing. You know, he showed up here today just to watch a truck race.
2 and 3 wide, continuing around Martinsville Speedway.
Came in a day early, didn't he?
Yeah, he came in a day early. Watch it. Here you got it. Look. Oh. Yeah.
Chris Devoto, what's going on in the garage area?
I knew that little gopher Digger was going to jump back down in that hole. Brian Scott, we've been really impressed with him this weekend. A young kid, had a great qualifying effort. He did race here in the fall, so he has raced at Martinsville before. Right now, he is hanging on for dear life in the top 5. His team told him on the radio, just follow that number 14. Stick with Rick Crawford. He's a veteran. He will open holes up. That's the game plan, the strategy right now for the 16 of Brian Scott.
And that's, you know, we talked about that in practice.
Right.
And we talked about it in our opening a couple of times. That's how you learn. Follow one of the guys that's been good here. Follow somebody that's got some experience and laps around here and learn from them.
You know, Darrell, we talk about how hard it is to pass here, and the way you do it is to move people out of the way. Well, David Starr just executed a perfect pass here just a few moments ago. Watch this now. That's Timothy Peters right there. David's going to pull right behind him there. Watch this now.
A little nudge. Gets the guy a little bit loose.
And then just drives underneath him. And that's not even a deal where Timothy's going to retaliate, because he knows there was a gap. Whenever you see a gap, you know the guy behind you is going to get impatient, and you're going to want to be conscious of the fact that he's there. And if he leans on you a little bit, don't take offense to it.
No, you got to leave your feelings. You just can't have any aggression here. You got to kind of control that.
Look at this.
We got
side by side for the lead. That's Ron Hornaday on the inside. He's right behind Chris Wallace.
The guy that's really going to take advantage of this is in the 15 truck.
Denny Hamlin making the pass as well.
Yeah. He's going to drive by that 2 truck of Jack Sprague as well. He's going to take off after that 33 of Ron Hornaday. He's going to try to get to the inside.
Well, I tell you who's doing a good job of hanging on here for dear life, and love to see a caution right now, is Chrissy Wallace in that 03.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are trying to put her a lap down, and she's doing all she can to keep them from it.
Come on.
Lost a little time there.
The leader's on the inside, Yo.
Uh-oh.
The 2 of them coming by. Discretion, the better part of valor there for Denny Hamlin. Come on, stay with him, Chris. You got to stay with him. You're a lucky dog as the caution comes out.
Yeah, I tried. He about spun and checked off.
No, I'm just letting you know, honey. Just keep doing it. Sprague's on the inside of you. He's on the inside. This is your quarter panel. Give it.
That may be a first for me.
I'm trying, I heard.
No.
I've never had a spotter call me honey.
No, I've never heard that one before. that was sweet right there.
To be clear. They've called us a lot of things, but honey wasn't one of them.
Ain't one of them. That was kind of sweet, really.
She did get shoved out of the way just a bit.
Just incidental contact.
You see down here what happens. Hornaday goes in hard, runs up the track in front of Chrissy, and she kind of nails him right there, and that's what cost her momentum, and that's what she was talking about.
That's where Ron Hornaday lost the lead to Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin in front of the field now here at Martinsville. That's Father Mike Wallace spotting for Chrissy.
Trying to stay warm up on the roof. Very, very cool day here. That 2 in front of you is the truck you need to try to get by if you can. Battle for 5th right there. David Starr is going to try to take over that spot from Brian Scott. He's going to bring the 47 of Timothy Peters with him. Look at there's that black Toyota right there behind him.
He's lurking.
That 51 truck.
Yeah, he's lurking back here. But the guy I've been watching is that white truck right behind him.
Dennis Setzer.
He has been picking them up and putting them down too. And he's got a really good truck.
Dennis Setzer following right in the shadow of Kyle Busch as they work their way around the paperclip here, Martinsville Speedway.
See, what you want is a truck just good enough that when, say, Kyle Busch gets by the 47 here or gets an opening, you want to be able to go with him. When he gets him out of position, you want to be able to take advantage of it.
Yeah, you did that a lot over the years.
Oh, yeah, you got to be in the right spot, baby.
A few shuffling of spots and being in the right spot. Denny Hamlin's been able to take over the top spot. Behind him, it's Ron Hornaday. Welcome back to
from Martinsville Speedway. Our first caution of the day came out on lap 41 just moments ago. It was Philip Magilton that was struggling through turn 4 and got turned around. We'll ride along with Travis Quapple as Magilton's on his outside here.
I imagine we're going to make a little contact. There it goes right there in the center of the corner. Travis got down to the inside.
Behind you. Caution is out.
At position. Little 3-wide action for our leader, Denny Hamlin. You see him right there. That's Jason White on the inside. He pulls over and gives Denny enough room to go up the middle. Tim Cowan on the outside. Nice little move here. Gives him a little bit of distance over that second-place truck of Ron Hornaday.
A couple trucks made it onto pit road.
And these guys, I don't believe that they can make it from here. I'd be 210 laps. I don't think you can make. These guys got to remember something. We do too. This thing's only got an 18-gallon fuel cell this year. It's not like last year when they had the 22-gallon. So that's going to change strategy just a tad.
Rick Crawford running in the 4th spot. Krista, did he want to come onto pit road?
Yes, he did, Rick. He felt like something was wrong with his truck. He got on the radio to talk to his crew chief, Cowboy Starlin. He said, it's the right rear tire or the hub. Something is wrong. They told him to come in and get 4 tires, but he missed pit road, so he is not sure what is wrong with his truck. They definitely wanted to come in.
And the situation is now he doesn't want to give up the track position, all the track position, because he's going to be behind all the other trucks that came down pit road the first time around. So he'll probably stay out there and see if that thing if he can live with it.
Let's run back down pit road. Matt Yoakum.
Rick, in racing, we hear a lot about phrases like sacrifice and accomplishment, but KHI's Todd Dodson knows it more than most of anyone here on pit road. He served in the Marine Corps Security Forces Division from 1990 to 94, guarding nuclear weapons. He had a short return to civilian life, running a trucking company. And then when 9/11 took place, he didn't hesitate. Todd joined the National Guard. He found a unit that was deploying to Iraq, literally volunteered to fight for a country once again from January of 2006 to May of 2007. Then he changed uniforms last fall, joining KHI. He's one of their transporter drivers. And when VFW came on board as a company sponsor, he said, you know what? I couldn't feel more at home than right here at KHI, because he, too, like my grandfather, the late Earl Keller, a member of the VFW.
Denny Hamlin still in front of the field. It's Jack Sprague and Ron Hornaday chasing. Hornaday running second, Sprague third. Crawford still fourth, but could have problems with that number 14 Ford F-150.
He's hanging right with Jack Sprague right now, though. Jack's trying to get by that Ford truck of Stacy Compton. He's the first truck right now, 1 lap down.
That's the problem when you think you got some sort of a vibration issue. It's like the crew really puts a lot of pressure on the driver. They leave it up to you. And now you got to sit there, and you've got that doubt in your mind, what if there's nothing wrong?
Yeah.
And I give up this track position and a shot at winning, maybe.
Taking a look out of windshield of the 09 of Travis Quapple.
These are some of the trucks that made a trip to pit road on this caution flag. That's Chad Chaffin, the 40. Saw John Wood, the 21, just get by him. There's Andy Lally going by the inside of Travis Quapple right now.
There's the 14 of Rick Crawford on the outside, the 11 of David Starr, and the 51 of Kyle Busch looking to make the pass as well.
The other thing about, too, a little chatter or something with the right rear, that's not all that unusual here, to get the right rear chattering a little bit on this concrete. So I think Rick's all right. I've been looking at his truck. I don't see anything wrong with it.
Concrete asphalt. I mean, this is a little bit of a unique racetrack, and the concrete in the corners, asphalt on the straightaway.
It's a real challenge. And you come up off the concrete, when you hit that split right there with the concrete, we got the yellow flag out.
Second time today, and the 85 was slow on the racetrack. Brent Raymer.
It really caused an accordion effect over there off of turn number 2. I don't think anybody else got turned around, but a lot of trucks got a little bit of damage front and rear.
We'll be right back with more racing from Martinsville. Craftsman Truck Series Racing on Fox is sponsored by Budweiser. Reach for the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager.
And the reason for us being under caution, coming out of turn 4, look out, Digger.
Goodness gracious, Digger. He can always find the hot spots. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah. He stuck with it.
Yeah, he hung out right with it.
But he never gave up on it.
Never gave up.
Not.
Again, only 2 cautions early on in this race, 55 of 250 complete. Brendan Gaughan came back onto pit road. He was back under power.
I tell you, this is not a bad plan. I guarantee he ain't coming back to pit road because you might be able to make it here with enough cautions.
That's what he may be banking on. At least he's in position now to possibly make it.
Exactly.
Fuel miles strategy. Green flag back in the air at Martinsville.
I think we get 15, 20 more laps, though. We're going to see a lot of guys out there when the caution comes out.
The window would be, you need about 75 laps of racing, and then you know you're pretty safe.
Got a little debris hanging off the back of the 33 there.
Sure, NASCAR's going to look at that. I don't think that's an issue that they should bring him to pit road for.
Nah, it just looks like a piece of trim of some kind.
That's probably where Christy Wallace ran into the back of him with the 03 truck.
Yeah, that's been there for a while.
Run's been good at staying right on the back bumper of whatever truck has been in front of him. And right now it's Denny Hamlin. Adam.
And he's been solid in the early going, working his way from second to the lead in less than 30 laps. He said it's tight in the center, but excellent with forward bite. And under that last caution, crew chief Doug George said we're looking at somewhere around lap 95 is the ideal time to come down pit road. And if we come down then, we will need help with cautions to be able to make it the rest of the way on fuel.
I think Doug would like to see the caution come out at 95, but I think if it comes out at 75, he may not be able to afford to let everyone else come in and him come in the next caution behind everybody.
That's what I like about truck racing, though, man. It's the strategy. You only got a limited amount of tires, 3 sets. You know you can make it on one stop if you hit the right time. So a lot of strategy being played out.
Scott Speed on the inside of Ken Schrader now as those 2 trucks battle. Door to door.
Johnny Benson, that 23 truck slipped. He was on the outside of his teammate Mike Skinner, slipped a little bit, lost a little ground. Now he's back up to speed.
Well, there's a cat looming back here, and he keeps moving forward. I've been watching him for a while now, and maybe we'll get around to looking at him here shortly. Is the 18 truck of Dennis Sesser. He just keeps moving forward, Phil. I've been watching him. Truck really handling well. He's going down the back now, and he's doing a good job of picking himself through here and getting up here in contention.
This is the guy that's won here twice, so he knows how to get it done.
Well, I watched him in practice, Phil, and then also he qualified pretty good. That truck has been solid ever since they unloaded here.
If Dennis Setzer would have qualified 25th, I'm going to say he's still a threat to win this race, but Dennis had a great qualifying effort, qualified up in the top 10.
Bad truck on the track.
Dennis Sesser starting this race in 10th. He's won this race starting all the way back in the 33rd position. That's the furthest back as we've got another spin. This one in turn 4, and the caution comes out once again. Now, is there any question after 63 laps?
I still think it's too early, with a small fuel cell.
To be safe. I mean, now you gamble. Now you got to wonder if you're going to get enough caution to make or not if you come now.
See Scott Speed on the inside of that 85 truck.
And that's what
he bounced off the curb. We see it so many times.
But that's what happens. That 85 left that bottom open just enough that you say, is he going to let me in, or am I going to, whoops?
Yeah.
There's another view right here. You're going to see Scott Speed. He didn't feel like he had quite enough room. He was trying to give the 85 more room, but when you bounce off that curb, it's going to shoot you to the outside anyway.
And so 3 cautions from Martinsville early on. Pace truck making its way back onto pit road. Chrissy Wallace on the inside of Denny Hamlin. Chrissy Wallace a lap down. Ron Hornaday right behind Denny Hamlin as we get ready for the restart.
Denny Hamlin gets a good, clean restart. Ron Hornaday jumps to the inside for a moment.
You know why Hornaday does that? Just so he can remind you that, hey, I'm the king of restarts.
I'm pretty good at restarts, by the way. Jack Sprague still on the outside line as they work their way through 3 and 4.
Jack Sprague clears the lap truck of Chrissy Wallace. Going to bring the 11 of David Starr with him.
Chrissy got into David Starr going into 1 there, but he was able to recover and hang on to it. And that 11 truck is looking pretty racy.
Comes Kyle Busch right behind him as well. Kyle Busch clears that 0-3 of Chrissy Wallace, and now Kyle Busch just setting his sights on the 11 of David Starr, see if he can move around that truck for the 4th spot.
I don't think he can move around that 11 truck. That cat's won here before, and that truck's won here before. I like the way he looks right now. The truck's really rolling the center good and coming up off the corner nice and straight.
Big day tomorrow. Big day tomorrow here on Fox. 500 laps here for the Sprint Cup Series.
Oh, poor old Digger. He'll be worn out. He's going to work today and 500 laps tomorrow.
How about Denny Hamlin working today and then 500 laps tomorrow, as well as Kyle Busch.
I'll have to take old Digger a hot dog.
Donnie Leon, that 71, autismspeaks.org, making his move toward the front.
You got your Digger t-shirt, didn't you, buddy?
I haven't. Where do you get one of those?
You get them at DWStore.com or you get them at
DWStore.com.
You get them on Fox Sports, too.
Justin Marks in the construct court. Number 9 gets turned around. No caution.
Got a flat tire? Turn 4. Left front, it looks like.
That's Jason Overstreet.
Oh, problems with Colin Brown, too, as he gets moved out of the way by Todd Bodine.
We have to go back a lap or two and watch that because I think Colin Brown moved Todd out of the way, and that was just a little bit of a payback right there. There's times when you know there's going to be some contact, and there's times when you don't want any contact, don't appreciate any contact, and you reciprocate.
I think that was a failure to communicate, though, because the 30 was slowing down because he thought there was going to be a caution for the 9. I believe
there's a little contact there. There's some more.
Right now, there's a truck spun out on the racetrack. I don't know if that had anything to do with it or not. Now, I'm talking about when they were, when that was all going on.
Yeah, Todd may have backed off because of that, and then this is the next corner.
So Colin Brown got moved out of the way, Matt.
2 cautions ago, Rick, he came on the radio and said his car just would not cut. It wouldn't turn well in the center of the corner. It was too tight. Now, he made the adjustment himself by adjusting the brake bias inside his truck. Under the last caution, says, you know, my truck really feels good right there. I'm really dialing it in. It really now is rolling well through the corner. And the incident on the racetrack, that's just good old-fashioned Martinsville short track racing.
Yep, you got to put that behind you, get that out. Don't think about that anymore and concentrate on moving back up.
That 6 truck of Colin Brown was running about 8th or 9th when that little battle with Todd Bodine started. And now he's back to the 16th position and being passed by more trucks. It's taken him a while just to get his bearings again.
That's what happens to you, though, Phil. You know, you get knocked around, you get spun around, you about wreck, and it takes you a lap or two to get your focus back.
Top performers of the race, the Toyota top performers, and obviously on top right now, Denny Hamlin running up front. And that is a new Toyota to this series as far as with Billy Ballou. They were running 2 different manufacturers and now have, I guess, consolidated to one manufacturer. We got problems with Andy Lally.
Big lick.
That's also Travis Quapple and the Zaxby's Ford right there.
No contact.
Travis spins around.
Saying no contact.
Keep digging there, bud.
Travis got going before the leader, Denny Hamlin, got there. I think we're getting very close to our window, Darrell.
Yeah, you can come now.
Shorten that truck up a lot.
Other part.
I think that shows you how fast you're going here. The speed here is deceiving. You're doing 125 mile an hour down these straightaways, and you know it when you back one in the fence.
There's Andy on the outside of the 59 of Ted Musgrave. There's a little contact right there.
Backs into the wall. And so that brings out our 4th caution of the day. Looked as though Andy Lally was trying to come down the racetrack. Ted Musgrave was already there.
Yep. A lot of trucks on pit road right now, led by that 33 of Ron Hornaday. His teammate Sprague also coming down pit road.
Jack Sprague making a hard left turn. Adam Alexander.
Well, and Jack Sprague was going to stay on the racetrack, but when Hornaday came, he decided to come as well, and he was outside his pit stall. Big loss of time here for Jack Sprague. 4 tires and fuel and an adjustment for Sprague. Krista.
David Starr extremely happy with his truck right now. They're making the tire change. He said he's just a little bit tight in the center. He said he needs some help, but not much at all. Matt.
Hornaday is in. The strategy really wasn't what Rick Wren wanted. He wanted to stand a little longer, but NASCAR asking them to pit to fix the bodywork that was hanging off the back bumper. They rip it off. Good stuff continues on, though, as Skinner and Benson all going by. Also, Todd Bodine on pit road, as well as John Wood.
And I think that 18 of Dennis Setzer got out there awfully quick.
He may not have changed tires, or maybe only 2 tires.
How did the 2 get all jacked out of shape?
Well, he didn't get the right front tire in his pit box. They're going to back him up.
How did he come in there, though? Why did he get messed up like that?
He may have to drive around another truck. See, remember, he's coming just off the corner He's going to try to turn into his pits there. Didn't quite get in far enough.
You know, I think he was about to miss his pits. What happened?
And remember, he had a bad view. Now, as he came around that corner at him, he couldn't see his pit till he got there, could he?
That's the tough thing, Phil. When he came around the corner, he didn't see exactly where he needed to go. And after they finished the service, as he pulled away, he admittedly came on the radio and said, "My fault, guys." And now a tough situation as far as track position is concerned for Jack Sprague.
And you know, we question why they chose that pit, but then you explain that they chose the pits before they got here. Right. But that was not a very good move there on their part.
Free pass going to the 0-3 of Chrissy Wallace. Let's go back down to the Hollywood Hotel, guys.
Rick, well, let's talk about the problems in the pits for the 2 truck at Jack Sprague.
Well, if there's a place you cannot afford to give up track position, it has to be here at Martinsville. Martinsville Pit Road is always tricky. Everybody knows it, and for that group right there, the 2 truck of Jack Sprague, to make that kind of mistake, that could be devastating as far as having an opportunity to get to victory lane. At least that's in my opinion. But what we're seeing on this restart, getting ready to line up, you're going to see a lot of trucks up toward the front that are kind of like, well, how did they get there? Some of them took 2 tires, some of them just took gas only, so it's going to be really basically a all-out battle now for the guys who just took on 4 fresh tires trying to work their way back to the front and the lead.
And Tony Stewart looking on Chrissy Wallace getting a lap back on that recent caution. Denny Hamlin, the native Virginian, your leader. It's NASCAR on Fox for Racing Trucks in Martinsville.
Want to drive a Cup car? Well, now you can. This is the fan controller.
What the? Tony, what are you doing? Dude, you're going backwards. Sandy, run for your life.
Welcome back to short track racing from Martinsville Speedway for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, our 4th race of the 2008 season. Let's go to Jeff Hammond, who's going to give us an update on the State Farm Safety Report.
When it comes to protecting the driver, NASCAR is always looking for ways to improve. No different in the Craftsman Truck Series than the new car in the Sprint Cup Series. So this year, a lot like the Sprint Cup Series, NASCAR has mandated that there is a steel cover over the side of the roll bars that protects the driver. The reason for this, they've learned in the past, this is the best way, even though you don't have the foam here, protect the driver, and just in case a foreign object tries to get in there at the driver. Again, always trying to protect the driver inside the cockpit.
And I know you two are appreciative of that.
Very much so. We've always, not always, but there were times when we put a little bit of metal in those bars on that, but not like they have now.
And most of our crew chiefs and car builders said, we can't stand the weight. We don't want to put anything in there. So let's give up a little bit of weight here.
It was always about the weight.
How about Donnie Lee in that number 71 carrying the Autism Speaks banner?
Up in the 4th spot right now. One of the 6 trucks that have stayed on the racetrack. Dennis Setzer, the 18 truck, is the first one that was on pit road on that caution flag in line here in 7th.
Teammates nose to tail once again, but it's a different team that's out front. Now it's Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch. Earlier it was Jack Sprague and Ron Hornaday.
And I think we're going to see the same thing. I think Denny Hamlin is going to move over and allow the 51 of Kyle Busch to lead a lap here, because that 51 truck is running for the owner championship.
Well, I know Richie Waters makes a lot of great pit calls. I'm not sure this was one of them.
Staying out?
I think here we got the lead change, and this is kind of like teammates working together.
Yep.
Perfectly legal. But I think I would have had to pit with everybody else right there, because now you're going to be in a box. Next time your caution comes out, you're going to be behind about 25 trucks.
And if we don't get a lot of caution flags, Darrell, and you wouldn't be able to make it from here, well, so would none of the other guys. So I think it would have been a great time to come down pit road. But I'm telling you, we've doubted Richie Waters and his strategy before. And it always seems to work out for him. So I'm going to go on record as not saying it was a mistake.
Now, what strategy are they going to employ here? Are they going to stay out for the entire run, the fuel run, maybe to 140 or 150?
I don't think you can, Rick, because you're going to be trapped back in the field so far that you wouldn't have time to get back to the front.
Mike Skinner started 20th, currently running in the 9th spot. He was one of the trucks that came onto pit road. Hearing they're checking for debris on the racetrack after this most recent caution, the 4th caution.
Hey, These guys aren't playing now.
This serious now.
These are two race car drivers now. They don't know they're on the same team.
That first deal was arranged for Kyle to lead a lap now. Then he let Denny get back in front of him. Then he said, okay, now it's fair game. If I can get by him, I'm going to get by him on my own.
Now I'm going to work on making it 3 wins in a row in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series because he's won the previous 2. Looking to make it 3 in a row is Kyle Busch, but Denny Hamlin trying to find victory lane here at Martinsville Speedway.
It's like having double vision or something. Those trucks look so close.
They do. I think they're going to get separated quickly, though.
As bad as Kyle Busch said his truck was yesterday in practice, it seems like it's doing pretty good now.
You know why? Because the 15's doing pretty good.
Is that inspiration again?
Well, no, it's
motivation.
Teamwork. No, it's still with that motivation, but teamwork. I'm sure that the 51 went over and looked at Hamlin's setup sheet and said, hey, here's where we're mixing in a few areas. Probably made some adjustments on the 51, and now they're running, pretty even.
You know, this is the first time that 15 truck has been a Toyota this year. Right. And I asked Doug George, a crew chief, if this was one of the 51 trucks that they just borrowed for this race. He said, no, this truck we built ourselves. So these guys are working together. Doug George, a crew chief on the 15, and the crew chief Richie Waters on the 51.
This guy right here. I don't know what those guys up front have got, but I know this guy, he's been to pit road. He's got fuel. He didn't get tired, but he's got fuel. I'd keep an eye on him.
He was first off of pit road the last time they were on pit road. We see Johnny Benson sneaking up ever so close to the front now in that number 23 Toyota Tundra.
That's well put, Rick, because that's what he does. He just kind of sneaks into the picture.
Spin again for Philip Magilton in that 22. Caution comes out once again.
Keep going, come on.
And debris flying off that race truck.
Yeah, it's a bumper bar out of the back. Flew out into the track. Wouldn't want to run over
that. Got some damage in the left rear. The spoiler.
See what happened. He's right behind Chad Chaffin, that 40 truck right here. He's going to drive to the inside there to try to make it 3 wide for just a moment. That's probably a bad plan.
You know what happens, Phil, is the guy on the outside, he's got to make the turn too, you know. But the guy on the inside is coming straight in. The guy on the outside's turning in. They collide. Oh, no, Digger again.
Ooh, that tire jumped right over top of Digger.
I'm going to tell you what, I think Digger, by the end of the day, he's going to say, I don't know if I'm going to work tomorrow or not. These boys are killing me.
Well, you see 3 wide on the side of the 22. Just because it's on the truck doesn't mean you can do it, I guess?
No, exactly. Good point.
See if pit road opens here and see if Richie Waters and Doug George bring those Toyotas to pit road. Pit road is still closed this time.
Matt.
Right now, a lot of conversation, Phil, back and forth, and basically they're saying the game plan is simple. We need at least 30 laps of caution if we pitted now to make it to the finish, and they're not really sure if they want to gamble that much. And also keep this in mind, that they're also playing the points game, because if Kyle can't make Kansas, they want to lead as many laps and get as many points as possible. So if he has to miss that event Talladega weekend, he can still hold on to the Craftsman Truck Series points lead.
Well, and I think probably Matt and Phil, Rick, I think there's some probably not real sure about how far they can go.
Right.
You know, with the fuel cell size and the engine combination they got here this time.
I think the 15 truck is in a little different situation, although he is going to stand. Oh, he is coming down pit road because this truck is not racing for the owner championship. They're racing for the win, and I think this is the best way they feel like they can put themselves in position to win, Adam.
Indeed the case. Denny came on the radio and said it's way too tight, so they called him in. 4 tires, fuel, and an adjustment. This is right on the edge of their window, but they do indeed believe with enough cautions they can go the distance from here. Denny Hamlin making his stop at lap 104.
Quite a few other trucks working down pit road as well. Todd Bodine, one of them.
See Todd with a little damage. There's Jack Sprague back on pit road. He might as well come back down pit road. That pit stop on the previous caution just really put him out of contention for this race. He might as well come in and make sure he's got enough fuel to get to the end.
Denny Hamlin making his way off of pit road as we see the
damage to the front of that 30, as well as Donnie Leah in that 71. He makes his way back onto the racetrack.
There are DirecTV pit stops there, autismspeaks.org for Donnie Leah. Donnie was up about in the top 5 because he did not pit on the previous caution flag. Now he should be able to be good to go. And, you know, they were talking about needing 30 laps, Darrell. I think we're going to get 30 laps of caution here in the next 150.
It's just incredible how many caution laps we do end up in this race. And it's nobody's knocked out of the race. I think the 7 truck's only one out right now. These guys spin out, they crank up and take off again, but it creates a caution.
Two guys racing off of pit road and back onto the racetrack. Chrissy Wallace, obviously, we talked to you earlier about Father Mike Wallace doing the spotting duties for her. We were able to listen into some of that radio audio just moments ago.
Having fun?
Yep.
Told your mom you were going to sing during the cautions.
I don't know, maybe later.
She's not having that much fun.
Maybe Tony will sing. Tony Stewart helping Chrissy Wallace out yesterday in practice, and now up on top of the pit box helping out again today.
Standing right beside Mike Gafner, the crew chief.
You're running 22nd.
And you saw Tony, he said, when he did his hands like he did, tell Chrissy to clean the tires up. Get the tires cleaned off before we get ready to go green here.
Chris DeVota.
The fuel mileage game, 15 more caution laps. That's what the 18 said. They did not take tires, just fuel back on lap 80. On lap 102, they said they just need 15 more caution laps.
So that strategy is going to be playing out. Dennis Setzer starts right behind the 51 as the green flag back in the air.
See, Dennis Setzer knows there's no sense pushing the issue. He knows that 51 truck hasn't pitted yet. He knows he's going to inherit this lead when that 51 truck comes down pit road.
What he wants to do is run just fast enough. Don't use up my tires. Don't do anything out of it. Just maintain right now.
Throwing these 3,400-pound trucks into the corners, trying to hold on. Johnny Benson on the outside of Justin Marks.
Yeah, Justin's being shown about 3 laps down right now. Brendan Gaughan right now is in the 3rd position in that 10 Max Force Ford.
Johnny Benson, a big mover today, all the way up to the 4th spot after starting 22nd. Just in front of him, you see the 10 of Brendan Gaughan making his moves toward the front. He started 16th today.
It just gets so jammed up when, particularly after these restarts, everybody on top of each other. If the guy in front of you slips a little bit and you're in the gas, that's where these little spins come from, just making casual contact.
All right, pretend you're Kyle Busch's crew chief right now. When do you finally come onto pit road? When's too late?
Well,
maybe
if I'm his crew chief, I'm sitting there hoping that maybe some of these other guys have got to come back to pit road. Maybe they don't have enough fuel to make it. Maybe maybe they pitted too early. That's the only hope he has, because otherwise he's going to be at the rear of the field when he does pit.
Save a little fuel. You're running 20 flats right there.
Now remember, he started 11, so he has moved forward, and he did move forward under green flag conditions. Probably one of the only trucks that was able to pass trucks, I wouldn't say comfortably, but able to get by guys.
He and the guy running second.
Exactly.
Good shot of that. Good shot of that 47 truck at Timothy Peters. You know, Timothy Peters found himself without a ride this year. Went out and bought that 47 truck from Morgan Dollar himself. Got a motor from Carl Wagner. Got Danny Gill, a former crew chief in this series, to come help him. And here he is running with a great run. Qualified up in the top 10, and now he's running in the 12th spot.
That's determination, and I really think that's one of the things that this series here allows you to do. You don't have to have $10 million to be competitive in this series. You probably $2.5, $3 million sponsorship will let you run all the races and be pretty competitive doing it.
Timothy Peters right behind that 14 of Rick Crawford. But it's Kyle Busch. They continue to chase. Kyle hasn't been on pit road yet. When he does, he'll relinquish the lead to Setzer.
Craftsman Truck Series Racing on Fox is sponsored by Craftsman. Craftsman tools are the official tools of NASCAR. Craftsman at Sears.
51 of Kyle Busch
still out in front of the field, actually has put a little distance between himself and second place Dennis Setzer, almost a second and a half, and that's a long way on this short track.
Hey, the box he's in, Rick, I mean, he's got to do what he's doing. He just lead the most laps and then see what happens, because he's really put himself in a position where it's going to be hard to win this race, I think.
All Dennis Setzer wants to do right now is stay ahead of that third-place truck of Brendan Gaughan, because he knows that Kyle Busch is going to come down pit road more than likely the next time the caution flag comes out.
You know, we saw Kyle Busch in Atlanta. He passed on the apron. He passed him on the high side. He passed him wherever he caught him. You just can't do that here.
Moments ago, we're riding along with David Starr and problems. Yeah. No, it looks like Hornaday decided to get by David Starr.
He just drives her down in there, and you see David Starr is taking the appropriate line into the corner. That's what causes problem here, though. You go straight in the corner, and the guy's taking the right line in the corner. What are you going to do? You're going to collide there somewhere.
Philip Magilton chasing that 22 up the racetrack as well.
But you have to race a little bit defensive here. You know, that line that David Starr took, if you didn't have anybody behind you, that is the exact right line to take.
Exactly.
But the fact that you have a guy, an aggressive driver like Ron Hornaday behind you, you better think he might stick that nose in there.
Trust me, when you go down in there and you know somebody like that's looking underneath of you, you hold your breath. I'm telling you what, now, but Hornaday's messing around with the wrong guy now. He just put the bumper to the 5-car of Skinner, truck to Skinner there, and be careful doing that. That's like poking a snake.
Well, these two battled about the last 10 races of the season. We got problems again in turn number 4, and it's right in front of our race leader, Kyle Busch.
Oh, this could be...
Kyle was able to get stopped without making any contact, but obviously he's coming down pit road anyway. It really doesn't make much difference that he lost all that track position now, because he has to come down pit road anyway.
Looks as though just a...
No, he didn't hurt anything.
Yeah, just a little cosmetic damage there. Out in front of the field now, it will be Dennis Setzer. Let's take a look at what happened in front of Kyle Busch.
I think this 85 has a whole lot to do with what happened. Down in the corner, you're in my way. I got in a little hot. You didn't.
He spins up high. Now, Kyle had already decided to go up high.
I have to give Kyle credit. Probably a year ago, he'd have gassed her up and pushed that 85 right out of his way. He used a little restraint today.
He did let him know he wasn't appreciative.
He didn't like it, but he didn't wreck his truck trying to make a point.
No free pass for this caution. Again, the 6th caution of the day, and now we're expecting Kyle Busch to make the left turn and go on to pit road this time.
And pit road will be open when they get back over here to turn number 3. Dennis Setzer, we know, will not come down pit road, or at least we certainly assume he wouldn't come down pit road. Watch this line here, left of your screen, right where that green flag is
right
waving.
here.
You have to have 2 tires at least on that white line to commit to pit road. There you see Matt Craft in the 88, and then there's Ron Hornaday, the 33, coming in as well. Brian Scott's going to come in, and here comes Kyle Busch. He's going to make his way down pit road.
Here's the good news about all this. It is going to be fun to watch. These boys come back to the front.
Oh, definitely. Kyle Busch had led this race the most laps up to this point, and so now Kyle Busch, our race leader, got right behind the 85, couldn't move, so he makes the decision to make the move to pit road. Matt Yocum.
And Ricky Waters up on top of the pit box waiting for his truck to hit their pit box to service the 51. Ron Hornaday also on pit road. And the truck was tight for Busch earlier on, but when he was out front, he said the truck was good. They're going to get the Sawzall out just in case for Ron Hornaday Jr.'s truck. Good stop so far by the VFW boys, and Busch is away.
You know, a lot more drivers came down pit road this time, Darrell, than I thought, so that's going to be good news. You see the grill has come loose on that 33 truck of Ron Hornaday. I don't think that would cause a problem, but they may bring him back down pit road to put that down.
It causes a problem, Art. It causes a debris caution if they don't do something about it
and
now.
Probably will get too much air, and that probably would create a push situation, because that would be too much air coming in the front of that truck.
I think we'll see them probably suggest he goes back, and he worked on the rear last time. He might want to work on the front this time.
Now, you remember early on, Ron Hornaday came onto pit road when he was way up front. He was told by NASCAR he had to come onto pit road, and everyone followed him.
Yeah.
So he really dictated kind of a pit strategy for the whole field, but that was because of what NASCAR had asked him to come down pit road to cut off that bumper that was on the back that was kind of dangling off. Let's go back down to the Hollywood Hotel and Chris Myers.
All right, thanks, Rick. Just a quick reminder, our coverage on NASCAR continuing tonight on Speed. Sprint Cup Series practice from Martinsville. Tomorrow, NASCAR race day on Speed, and then Sprint Cup Series racing on Fox, followed by NASCAR Victory Lane. That's on Speed. And on our pre-race show at 1:30 Eastern, the big deal with Jack Roush, Toyota, car parts. Who's stealing from who? Jeff Burton will join us live, the native Virginia. Quick summary of what's going on here. The team of Ron Hornaday and Jack Sprague. Hornaday in the 2 truck, Sprague in the 33, part of Kevin Harvick Racing. Working a nice tag team to lead here. And then you see that's Chrissy Wallace tapping into the back of Jack Sprague, falling a lap down. Later getting that back. Travis Quaffle into the rookie. Philip McGilton bringing out one of the 6 cautions so far. Rookie Andy Lally in the 7 truck out of the race. And his first race is Brent Raymer, one of a couple of spins, keeping Digger hopping there. Our gopher cam underneath getting a good view, kind of pulling down the shade on Digger. Gopher risking his mini mole life every weekend for all of us. Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers, to bring you the best pictures. Midnight Eastern time or midnight Gopher time. You can pick up one of these shirts, right? Go to foxsports.com and look for the Fox Sports store or dwstore.com and pick one up.
I'll let you know that Digger is about as funny as you are.
These are these are the collector editions, by the way, Rick. So hurry and get one of these before DW beats you to it.
Chris, I see you've been using the grease gun.
Gopher won't leave us alone here.
The grease gun must have been working. Your hair looks great.
Thank you very much.
About to go back to racing. Green flag back in the air.
Well, let's see where our former leader restarts this race, what position he'll be in. All the way back in 23rd. That's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
See him right there on the outside of Ken Schrader. Ron Hornaday did not come down pit road with that front grille flapping. He stayed on the racetrack to keep his track position.
Yeah, it won't hurt performance. I was just concerned about it flying off and landing on the racetrack somewhere.
Dennis Setzer, Brendan Gaughan, 1 and 2. Best Brendan Gaughan has finished at Martinsville was 6th back in 2006.
Got trouble down here, guys.
Oh, problems again.
Big old trouble.
This time Tim Cowan in the 42. It looks like it gets turned around. And then Jack Sprague involved in this one as well. The 4. Stacy Compton and John Wood in the 21 all getting caught up.
There's Timothy Peters, the 47 on the outside. See a little bit of damage there to that 2 truck of Jack Sprague.
I don't think we got the radiator.
Let's take another look at what took place to cause all this damage.
Cautions is what causes it. This is a result of a lot of the caution. You get all bunched up, and like I said, one guy goes, one guy doesn't. They go 3 wide right here. Not a good idea. That 85 has been involved in a couple of incidences already. And John Wood just used up that 47 truck.
They just drove down in there. He was on the inside of the 3-wide battle, and you really don't have your marks when you're in a situation like that. You're way on the inside. You lose your bearings on exactly where the corner is. John got it on that corner too hard, made contact with the 47.
A lot of damage when you go to short tracks, and that's exactly what we're seeing today. The shuffle made famous by, well, we'll say Darrell Waltrip. He may have stole that. Look out, Digger. They're cleaning the track. They've actually thrown the red flag here at Martinsville Speedway after this most recent caution.
Digger had to hide there from the rush truck.
Stopped all the trucks in turn 4. And they're all lined up behind Dennis Setzer. Dennis Setzer's won at this racetrack twice, looking to make it 3 times. He won a year ago at Mansfield as well. He knows how to win at short tracks, Bill.
He sure does. And he ran that entire race at Mansfield, 250 laps without a pit stop. Dennis did make a pit stop early on, and he looks like his strategy is to stay out and make it on 1 stop.
You know why he can do that? I'm telling you, I've been watching him. The truck's handling perfect. He's not using a lot of brake. The thing is coasting through the corner. He's not jacking the throttle around. He's getting extremely good fuel mileage.
We talked a little bit earlier in the practice shows as well as qualifying about Brendan Gaughan being a Georgetown Hoya former player, and the Hoyas losing to Davidson in the second round of the NCAA tournament. Chris, I think there's a further story to this.
Yeah, you just saw that couple there wearing the Davidson sweatshirt that Davidson had. There you see Brendan. Those folks are standing in Brendan's pit. Davidson colors all around here with the 10 team. That's because they are the family, the parents of Brendan's rear tire changer, Nicole Addison. Her family lives just down the street from Davidson. She is the one who's been egging Brendan on. She's the one who gave him that sticker that he put on his steering wheel. She bought him the jersey that he's wearing under his fire suit. So she's been giving him a lot of grief. Her family living just about 20 minutes from Charlotte, Davidson, a small town in North Carolina. There you see Mr. and Mrs. Addison, her sister also here wearing Davidson, and there is Nicole Addison. And of course, that's a whole nother story. So many females getting a chance here in NASCAR. In the Truck Series, we've been talking about Chrissy Wallace behind the wheel. Nicole Addison goes over the wall. She is the rear tire changer for Brendan Gaughan.
Brendan's having a great run right now. Remember, he pitted back on lap number 54, so he's going to need a lot of caution laps in order to have enough fuel to get to the end of this race. But so far, great strategy. He's got him up in the second position right now. Brendan always says they're trying to convince me that I know how to drive this place. He had a sixth place finish here not too long ago, so he does know how to get around this racetrack.
One thing I like about this series, this should be a feeder series. This should be where you come and you race at tracks you've never raced before. Get some experience here. Work in the pits. Go over the wall. This is a great training series for what people may want to do in the future. Go to the Nationwide or on up to the Cup Series eventually.
A lot of great racing taking place. There was quite a few lead changes, 8 already. One of the drivers that was out in front early on was the 33 of Ron Hornaday. Matt Yoakum.
Down in the defending series champions pit, and Rick Wren, where is your pit strategy and where do you stand now? Because you don't really have too much semblance of order dictated to pit twice.
Yeah, it's really thrown our whole pit strategy out the window. We kind of had a really good early game plan, and we had some debris hanging, and NASCAR required us to pit and fix it, and it threw our strategy off, and it actually was going to play back out. We had got back up to 12th, and things were going pretty good, and our truck is really fast, and then we got some more damage, and they required us to pit again, and now we're back in 26th, and there's only 106 laps to go, and it's going to be hard to get this VFW Chevrolet back up front. All I can say is we're really glad to be associated with VFW and supporting the troops this week and everything they do for us so we can do what we do. And it just ain't over yet. Everybody knows Ron Hornaday's a rock'em sock'em race car driver, and I'm sure it can be exciting these last 106 laps.
And they've got the first pit stall, and thankfully they do because they have so many members from the VFW that they needed the extended pit area. Adam?
And NASCAR's plan, or rather Rick Wren's plan, thrown off a little bit by NASCAR and Ron having to come down pit road. The plan was perfect for Doug George and Denny Hamlin. Come down pit road just over lap 100, and now you've cycled back up to 7th. How is the truck?
This truck's pretty good, just a little tight in the center, but good forward bite up off. So things working good for us. Toyota Tundra's really running good today, and we got just enough cautions to put us where we need to be right now. So looking forward to finishing this deal up.
A little bit of misfortune for Ron Hornaday. All good for Denny Hamlin. Jeff Chris, the 7th on the board as we're back getting set to go back racing.
All right, thanks very much. Denny Hamlin has led the most laps in this race, 64. Our leader, Dennis Setzer, is standing by as a backup for Elliott Sadler tomorrow in the Cup race, 1:30 Eastern on Fox because of back problems with Elliott Sadler. We'll update that tomorrow. But how about Brendan Gaughan, what he's learned from the guy who's leading the race right now about maybe winning the race?
Well, I had an opportunity to talk to Brendan the other day about his best finish here at Martinsville. He told me, he said, Jeff, he said, when I had the opportunity to follow who the leader is right now, Dennis Setzer, that's how I got my best finish. He said, following him around this racetrack, I was able to pace myself, get her in a rhythm, and I had a very solid finish. So I'm not surprised to see Brendan once again following Dennis Setzer. He's one of the best short track racers that we've ever seen, and particularly in the Craftsman Truck Series, but probably around this country. He is very good when it comes to short track racing.
Jack Sprague moments ago in the 2 truck, someone who has led in this race, in fact led 28 laps, had some pit problems. But just a quick recap, as we mentioned, Denny Hamlin, he's in the 15, and you'll see that Chrissy Wallace earlier had some problems, but Hamlin leading 64 laps in this race. And Kyle Busch, as you see, the 85, Brett Raymer has been in the way on quite a few of the cautions, 7 cautions so far during the day. John Wood into Timothy Peters, Compton, Sprague involved, and then pit problems for Jack Sprague here.
Yeah, Jack had some damage. This is early on here. He got in too hard, missed his pit box. That put him way back in the pack and really frustrated, I think, his entire team. But later on, he got caught in the pit, came down, and again, Jeff Galita right there trying to repair that truck, got hit. And that's the reason why you see these guys wearing fire suits as well as helmets when you're on pit road, because you never know when something like that might happen. NASCAR has made these crew members wear it just for that exact reason, and you've got to be careful. Fortunately, he was able to bounce back up, and Jack's back on the racetrack.
We're talking trucks, we're talking basketball, we're talking baseball. Next Saturday, Fox Saturday Baseball. Opening weekend, the Mets take on the Braves, White Sox take on the Tigers, or the Dodgers and Padres renew their rivalry. It's Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week, returning next week, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific, in high definition only on Fox. Let's return to DW, Phil, and Rick.
Well, thank you. And the hits keep coming. I know you were talking baseball there, but how about the hits for Jack Sprague? He's being told back of the longest line now for a commitment line violation. Green flag back in the air. We're back underway as we're closing in on the final 100 laps of racing from Martinsville.
Got a tippy toe here just a little bit, put down a lot of stage dry all the way around the racetrack from some of the damage on that last caution. So I'd be a little careful here for a lap or two.
Should we see a lug nut on the racetrack? Well, I was looking at Digger there. Digger saw it.
As long as NASCAR doesn't see somebody missing a lug nut, we're going to be okay here. You know, we talked to Rick Rendell. Trouble off a turn. Denny Hamlin's around off of turn 2.
Denny Hamlin spins off of 2. No caution as of yet. He gets turned back around, and he's going the right direction. Adam, what happened to him?
Well, he had just come on the radio and talked to his spotter, Curtis Markham, and said, "Do I have a flat tire, Curtis?" Curtis relayed and said, "Everything looks good from here." Denny back running now, but big-time issues for the guy that was running 7th on the restart.
It looked like he was slow coming off turn number 2, and then he made a little contact. Eric Darnell, I think, was the truck maybe that was running right behind him.
I think, Phil, after a caution, you got real low air pressure anyway, 7 or 8, 9 pounds in the left side. All that stayed dry, and I think he just got a bad. I think he just I think he just spun it out.
Travis Wapple had a interesting vantage point of what took place here.
You want on your bumper.
See the 9? It looked like the 99 of Eric Darnell.
Keep going. Keep digging.
Right behind.
Keep digging.
The 15. And that's Eric Darnell right there, the 99 truck. So he made a little bit of contact, but then he thought he had a problem, so he was slow exiting turn 2, and that's why Eric Darnell got into him.
Remember the other thing about the 10, who's running second right now, Brendan Gaughan. He came back onto pit road after he had the service done to his truck. He came back on pit road right before they went back to green to top off with fuel. So it doesn't seem like fuel might be a problem for Brendan.
But that was lap 54. That means he has to go 196 laps. So he's going to need a lot of caution laps. And we wonder how many it's going to take for him to get in his window.
Right.
So he's right now on the racetrack the longest of anybody since he's been on pit road.
The good thing for him, too, is his truck's running good enough to maintain track position. But I got to tell you, he can't make it on fuel.
Right now, he's got Johnny Benson right on his back bumper.
He's running a good race, and his truck looks good.
That 23 again.
He's hanging in there right with Dennis Setzer. Yeah. Dennis has only got about a 7/10 of a second lead right now.
Johnny Benson looks to the inside. Not enough horsepower to get on the inside of that 10.
You know Johnny's going to always, at the end of the race, he's going to find himself up front here. He knows how to get around these racetracks. He knows what his truck needs to get around these racetracks. And that's why it's no surprise that he's always contending for wins and championships in this series.
Well, the guys that are really in good shape now, as far as tires and fuel, are the 23, the 5, the 11. Those guys have been to pit road. They're probably in a little bit better shape than Brendan is.
Kyle Busch in that 51. The struggles behind Brent Raymer.
Getting a report that NASCAR is looking at the rear bumper cover on that number 2 truck of Jack Sprague. You know, when we talked to Rick Wren a few minutes ago, and he said that NASCAR really wanted them to come down first to fix the rear bumper and then to fix the front bumper. The thing I like about that is they didn't make him do it under green, Darrell. They waited till the caution flag came out. If they make him do it under green, he's going to find himself at least 2 laps down, be out of contention. So NASCAR said, we're going to keep an eye on it. When the caution comes out, we're going to have you come down pit road.
Yeah, and you get beat and banged around here so much. Things, hanging loose on your truck, that's not unusual here.
appears to be secure up to this point. There you see that 15 of Denny Hamlin, a little damage to the right rear and back of that truck, and he's about to go a lap down. He was running 7th when he got turned around.
I don't know what they did to that 15 on the pit stop, but they ruined it.
Adam Alexander, what took place?
Well, he had some contact earlier, and they feel like that damage may have broken something in the rear end. Denny said it's got to be something broke because every time he comes off the corner, the rear end just bounces around. Doug George said, please ride it out for me. Doug being the crew chief, I need all the points I can get. So Denny going to stay on track, but unfortunately a truck that could have won here today out of contention as we reach the latter stages.
See him backing up now as multiple trucks going by that 15. One of those being the 14 of Rick Crawford, riding along with David Starr as he looks up his back bumper. Travis Quaffle and the Zaxby's on board.
Hey, look behind this Zaxby's truck right here. That's the gunbroker.com Dodge right there.
Jason White.
Jason White.
Another
trouble.
Philip Magilton backs into the traffic in turn number 4. That brings the caution out.
Right. Backs right up in front of the leader. How many times has that 22 spun out now?
Well, that makes it
3 wide.
3. That's 3.
Left side tires here. Front flat.
And this is the second time we've seen the leader get trapped behind a spun out vehicle
and lose the lead.
Take another look right here. You see him going to drive down to the inside. He's on the inside of that 85 truck of on the outside of the 03 of Chrissy Wallace and make a little contact. Creates a smoke screen.
Now he's safely up on the racetrack, and then all of a sudden backs back down in front of the race leader, Dennis Setzer.
Right in front of the leader.
Left front tire flat for Philip Magilton. He'll have to go get work done on that. Brendan Gaughan takes over the lead at Martinsville.
In the world of auto racing, teamwork is the key to success.
And the same is true off the track.
That's why Fox Sports is proud to team up with Autism Speaks
to make a difference in the lives of children with autism.
Autism is a complex brain disorder that now affects 1 in 150 children.
But with your help, we can change the future for all those who struggle with this heartbreaking disorder.
Please visit autismspeaks.org to learn more about autism.
With your help, we can help.
Fox Sports jumping on board with autismspeaks.org. Huge event taking place this weekend. Lionel Richie putting on a concert.
Lionel Richie.
Palm Beach, Florida down there. Donnie Lee has driven Autism a great ride here. Highest running rookie right now, running 8.
I don't think you did Lionel Richie any justice with that late.
No, I'm a little red. I'm a little rusty.
You're supposed to save your voice.
Kyle Busch did a little adjustment right there on the 14 of Rick Crawford. He jumped to the inside, got up beside him going in turn 1, gained that spot.
Kyle Busch moving forward, Matt Yoakum.
Definitely on the move impressively. Now, he was telling his team over the last caution that his truck is just cutting so well early in the run to the center of the corner, but now it's a little bit tight. He says, you know what, I think I'm just going to have to be a little more creative on this run to the finish.
Creative?
I'll tell you
Can
what.
you get any more creative than Atlanta?
No, when you pass on the apron, and then you know, don't do that anymore. Okay, then he up against the wall.
Yeah. I mean, if he had an apron right here, he would pass, but there's a curve. But it looks like there's no outside groove there, Darrell, because that time he drove to the outside a little bit. David Starr was in front of him. David just scooted away by a truck length or so. There really is no outside groove. If he can't work and get underneath them, it's going to be very, very difficult to pass.
Yeah, it is, and there's so much stage ride stuff that's been blown up on the outside that you're right, Phil. You just get out of the groove, you're in trouble.
We're always shining a spotlight really on Kyle Busch because of such the talent that he brings to whatever series he's running in. But as Jeff Hammond pointed out at the beginning of this show, he's got a lot of talent in front of him that he's going to have to get by here at Martinsville. One of those being the race leader, Dennis Setzer. Dennis Setzer is a very tough short track racer.
Yeah, he is, and I just noticed, I guess I'd noticed it before, but he has a sponsor on the hood, Duckhead. And I drove for Mr. Harris here back in 2002, I think it was, and Duckhead was my sponsor. I still got some of their shoes.
They work. They work. Well, that's good.
And remember now, Dennis Setzer is on the same set of tires he started this race on. He did not change tires on his pit stop back on lap number 80.
And so far, I have not seen that truck. It hadn't given up one bit. It doesn't have any indication that those tires are giving up on him. He just keeps running that same smooth line.
Battle for second here, and again, Brendan Gaughan, probably the question mark in the top 5 right now as far as can he make it to the end on fuel, because he came in on lap 54. Johnny Benson all over his back bumper, so that is a big variable going into the final laps of this race.
And when you talk about Dennis Setzer, he's up there leading this thing. He's one of those guys that Caraway, we talk about where did he go test for Martinsville. He is like the king of Caraway. Where does he win at? He goes to Hickory, North Carolina. He's the king of Hickory. All these little short tracks here in the Virginia, Carolina area, Dennis Setzer is the man. Chris DeVota.
He is definitely the man at the short tracks. DW said it best, and caution, I believe, is out.
Yeah, Krista, in turn number 4, we've got Chad Schaff and Todd Bodine turned around. And so that brings out our 9th caution of the day.
That's going to help Brendan Gaughan.
Take another look at what just happened in turn number 4.
There's some contact here, I do believe.
Looked like the 2 of Jack Sprague got in the back of Todd. Todd trying to regain control. Unfortunately, not able to do so. Then Chad Cheffin came along. He got a little bump from the back from Chad McCumbee. Slid into Todd's little incidental contact.
Yeah, well, that's kind of a chain reaction thing. You know, somebody slows down, somebody doesn't, and make contact.
We see a lot of damage on the 30, and then the truck that's out in front, not a scratch. The 18 of Dennis Setzer leading the field at Martinsville.
Craftsman Truck Series Racing on Fox is sponsored by State Farm, where great coverage meets great race. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Just back underway at Martinsville Speedway, 68 laps of racing to go around the paperclip. And it's still Dennis Setzer out in front. Right behind him, Brendan Gaughan, Johnny Benson, Mike Skinner, and David Starr, your top 5.
I tell you what, nobody's in the same league with that 18 truck on the lap times, though, right now. Just ran a 20.2. Johnny Benson's near there at a 20.29.
DW, that's only 4/100ths of a second slower than his fastest lap of the race.
Yeah.
And that was on lap number 155. Trouble.
Problem in the turn 3 wall. That 16 of Brian Scott gets shortened up on the bed once again, and now it's the 10th caution of the day.
You know that old saying we always use, cautions breed cautions. You know where it came from?
Martinsville or Bristol.
Yeah.
Come on around. Come on. Just run over the curve if you have to. You can't be a lap down.
He's struggling to
getting in gear, I think.
Get that one turned.
That's a new approach right there. You block the track. That way you can't go a lap down.
And it didn't work.
Looked like he was a little bit sideways. There may have been some contact with the 6th of Colin Brown down the back straightaway. See, Colin pulls up to the inside. He actually got Brian a little bit sideways before they even got to the corner. Brian had absolutely nothing he could do. Rides it up to the outside wall.
You just go down there, and if the guy in front of you happens to let off just a teeny bit before you do, you're right into him.
We're getting down to it now. We only have 65 laps to go. I think, we've seen a lot of patience as Digger's going to get a look at this. Watch that truck go right over top of him sideways.
How does that lug nut keep staying there?
Just out of the groove. Just out of the groove.
That's impossible.
But it's getting time. We've seen a lot of drivers showing a lot of patience in this race.
Now, remember I told you I got hung on the curve here one time?
Yep.
He's hung on the curve. Actually, he's got a wall in front of him that might slow him down a little bit, too.
I think he's kind of high-sided, that baby.
I'm not sure he could get it in gear.
Let's head back to the Hollywood Hotel and Chris Myers, Jeff Hammond.
And Rick mentioned at the top of the broadcast, 10 drivers first time at this track, 10 cautions. We're seeing a little bit of that effect right now.
Really you are. I think, these guys, they don't understand exactly how this racetrack changes. It gets harder to get grip on. Guys get more aggressive as they start racing along. You lose sight of where you need to be on the racetrack. Next thing, it's like bumper cars, Chris, and around you go, and you never know what's going to happen. And the bad thing about it, it's going to get worse before it gets better. As closer we get toward the end, the guys at the front are going to have less patience. They're going to start using that front bumper to say, hello, remember me, I got to go.
64 laps to go and under caution. A couple of mini streaks on the line. Mike Skinner currently fourth, trying to win his third straight race at Martinsville.
And I think, Mike is in a great position, but the key thing is right now, he's got to get around his teammate right now, Johnny Benson, so he can get him and put pressure on Brendan Gaughan. If he even thinks about getting up there close enough to be able to pressure Dennis Setzer, that's the only way you're going to beat Dennis today is by putting pressure on him. But we've also got a guy that's going for, trying 3 wins this year, and it has to be the 51 car of Kyle Busch, 51 truck of Kyle Busch. And right now he's behind my guy, David Starr, and I'm starting to worry about our position because I know he's going to start getting in a hurry. He knows he's running out of laps. He needs to get up there and start making something happen. And I think that there could be the battle that we're looking for between the 18 and Kyle Busch if he can just make it around a few of these trucks and not cause any more caution.
And Kyle will make it exciting. You'll want to stay out of his way in the 51 truck, the Toyota. Let's check out our Camping World race summary. And so far, we mentioned the number of cautions. We've had, look at the lead changes. Dennis Setzer, though, approaching Denny Hamlin, who has led the most laps, 64.
Well, again, we're talking about a guy that knows how to win short track races. Darrell Waltrip has talked about it time and time again. This man is the man when it comes to racing in the Carolinas and Virginia. Dennis Setzer knows how to keep tires on the truck, be smooth, and he's in an excellent position right now. He just needs to keep this 18 truck out front, clean air on it, and keep everybody off his back bumper, and he will probably be able to make it to the house and into victory lane. Don't be surprised.
So shaping up for maybe some high drama and high def in terms of the finish here. Don't forget tomorrow it's Sprint Cup Racing, 1:30 Eastern on Fox from Martinsville.
The slam-bangingest racetrack in America. Martinsville, the little half mile that thinks it's a super speedway.
That's about as good as it gets at Martinsville. Looks like it's got that Martinsville attitude.
Oh, that grandfather clock is ticking away. I can't wait for Martinsville.
1:30 Eastern, a check on the front row, and Denny Hamlin, who of course has led the most laps in the truck today, the native of Virginia, and Jeff Gordon on the pole once again. But as much as Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson have dominated this track in the Cup Series, they've yet to win a race this year.
Yet to win a race, but I tell you right now, talking to Jeff Gordon, watching that 24 car in practice, not only coming when he won the pole yesterday, but also during the practice sessions today here at Martinsville, he is going to be the class of the field when they drop the green flag tomorrow.
That's tomorrow, 1:30 Eastern on Fox. Back to DW, Phil and Rick, and can Dennis Setzer hold on?
Chris and Jeff touched on 3 drivers that were, I guess, big names as far as wanting to win this race. But in the top 5, we've got 2 odd men out drivers. Brendan Gaughan and Johnny Benson haven't won races here, but the other 3 in the top 5 have.
Yeah, and the thing about Dennis Setzer and that whole team, remember, that's the revamped Bobby Hamilton team.
Right.
They moved here to Martinsville. A lot of good people involved with this team, and they said themselves, this is our Daytona. This is our coming out party. Buddy, they're going to be able to celebrate here if things keep going the way they are.
It's Lori Hamilton up there on the top left of the pit box. Marcus Richmond, the crew chief, over to the right. Remember, Joey Arrington is involved with the ownership of this team, the engine builder, and Mark Melling's involved, Max Bailey. There's Stacy Compton is one of the owners of this team as well.
Green flag back out with 60 laps to go from Martinsville Speedway. Dennis Setzer looking very strong. DW, you mentioned it almost the beginning of the race, how good that 18 looked around this racetrack.
Yeah, I have yet to see him bobble. I mean, I just watch him coast through these corners, and just as smooth as silk. I mean, that's the whole thing. Whoa.
How about this, David Starr, as Dennis Setzer's leading out there. Kyle Busch gets on the inside of David Starr. Starr slides around 1 and 2 and saves it.
He was trying to get back to the 51 truck of Kyle Busch is what he was trying to do. Didn't quite make it.
I think Hammond nailed that one on that caution when he said he was a little bit worried about the 51 being behind the 11.
Take a look. We'll look in the lower right of your screen.
And you heard Kyle say he's going to have to get a little creative. You don't want to leave a crack for him. If it's a half a car opening, he'll take it.
That's creativity. You saw David Starr try to come back down, but the 51 of Kyle Busch had to stay out because he had a truck on his inside.
Just enough room to get under him, and once you get under him, that's all you got to shove him up out of the way and go. I mean, we're running out of laps here now.
And this is Martinsville. This is short track racing. You have to expect a little bit of the rubbing and banging and stuff that we've come to love for racetracks like this.
Yeah, and I never used to like this saying, but from up here I like it. That's just one of them racing deals.
That's a racing deal.
That's just one of them racing deals there, boy.
David Starr was all the way up to second. Currently running in 10th now as he dropped back after he got to the outside of the 51 of Kyle Busch with a little help. But it's Dennis Setzer out in front. Brendan Gaughan running second. Johnny Benson, Mike Skinner, and now Kyle Busch has broken into the top 5.
You know, we talked about Mike Skinner winning the last 2 races here last year, but, you know, that's about as quiet. Little battle maybe looming here for a second, but that's about as quiet a 4th place run for Mike Skinner as we've ever seen. We're so used to him leading laps. He won both these races last year. He leads a lot of laps in a lot of races. He's been very, very quiet in this race. A nice, steady run for Mike Skinner.
I tell you, I believe Dennis Setzer better keep hoping and praying that that 10 truck of Brendan can stay between him and Johnny Benson, because as I watch lap times, that's what old racers do. Johnny Benson's a little bit quicker than Dennis Setzer. Now, I don't know if he's sitting up there just holding what he's got or not.
And that last lap, Kyle Busch was a lot quicker than all these guys, about 2/10 quicker than anybody else on the racetrack.
I don't know why it is, but when you get to the 200 lap mark, business seems to pick up.
And we're closing in on that as this one's 250 lap race. We'll have 52 laps to go as Dennis Setzer goes by the start finish line, and he is right behind a slower lap car of the 16 of Brian Scott. So now he tries to work around him as he negotiates that pass. Brendan Gaughan will try to do the same. Krista, is there a fuel issue with the 10?
Absolutely. You guys have done a great job of documenting. It was lap 54 since Brendan Gaughan came in. Green does not equal go right now for the 10 team. If this race stays green, they will only make it to lap 228. Remember, this race is 250 laps, but the cautions have been falling their way. They get a few more cautions. Their crew chief, Brian Berry, said, Brendan, it will be close.
Yeah, Krista, they've had 54 laps of caution since they pitted on lap number 54. They probably need at least 70, 75 caution laps, I would guess. Wouldn't you think, Darrell?
Yeah, at least. Yeah, he's in a no. I don't think he can make it. I never did think he could make it, and you didn't either. But here's the other thing. Dennis Setzer just ran another fast lap. So I'm thinking he's watching that rearview mirror. And if he sees anybody make a move behind him, he's got a little something left, I do believe.
And Brendan's truck is still very, very good. He's running his fastest lap of the race 5 laps ago.
Listen, this is the best I've seen that kid run here ever. Now, I've seen him run every truck race here, and that's as good as I've seen him do.
Running very strong. The best Brendan Gaughan has ever finished at this racetrack was 6th, again back in 2006. 8 wins for Brendan Gaughan, but never at Martinsville.
Great battle right there. Donnie Lee of the 71, the 09 of Travis Quapple. Travis is going to get down to the inside. That is the battle for the 8th spot.
And Travis is coming from a spin out early in the race, you know, so he's done a great job of fighting his way back into this race.
And struggled so much in practice.
Got one around, turn 4 here, guys, the 6 of Brown.
Colin Brown gets turned around. No caution as of yet. He's not in the groove. If he gets going again, he'll jump back in. Now they bring the caution out.
Come on, that's all we needed. Come on.
11 cautions here at Martinsville for the trucks.
It's going to help Brendan Gaughan. See if we can see what happened to Colin Brown as he got down in turn number 3. That's Jason White, the 08 on the inside. Looks like the 33 of Ron Hornaday makes a little bit of contact, but it doesn't take much to get you turned around here.
And that's the thing about this racetrack. That's why we have so many cautions. Just a little nudge, and it puts him up here. He's a little loose getting in. You can see that. Ron gives him a little nudge, and around she goes.
Every one of these caution laps will help that number 10 truck of Brendan Gaughan. He needs some more caution laps.
He needs about 20, doesn't he?
He needs about 20, but hey, we have 46 laps to go. There's no guarantee we won't get 20 more laps of caution. What happens when cautions come out, Darrell?
Oh, we'll just have more cautions.
Well, we don't want to break the record. The record here is 16. We just had our 11th caution. Colin Brown gets turned around in turn number 4. Brings out the caution, though. He didn't hit anything, so not a lot of debris on the track. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You see your top 5 here at Martinsville Speedway as the laps continue to wind down. It's a good thing for Brendan Gaughan, who is working on fuel consumption. He only has a limited number or a limited amount of Sunoco fuel still in that race truck, and so he wants these caution laps to
shoved to the outside. I mean, it's almost like being at Daytona or Talladega. You get freight train. You just lose all your grip on the outside. People start going under you and just passing on by.
Ron Hornaday also making the pass now in that VFW number 33.
I'll tell you, one guy that I've watched here, we haven't talked a whole lot about, that left truck right there on the left, the 52 of Kenny Schrader. We haven't talked about him much. He's up in the 8th spot. What a nice run in his first time in a Toyota for Kenny Schrader. Starting way back in the 28th position here. Nice move. There's the 88 of Matt Craftsman going to the outside.
If you take a look at Schrader's truck, she doesn't have a scratch on her.
Johnny Benson reeling in that 10 of Brendan Gaughan once again as he's got Mike Skinner, his teammate, behind him. And then it's Rowdy Bush in the 51 just behind Mike Skinner.
I'm telling you guys, we're inside of 35 laps to go. Dennis Setzer continues to run quick laps. He eases away from that 10 of Brendan Gaughan. They got a dogfight back there for 2nd through 5th.
Dennis Setzer loves the fact that they're racing behind him. He's able to pull out to about a 1.5-second lead.
Craftsman Truck Series Racing on Fox is sponsored by Craftsman. Craftsman tools are the official tools of NASCAR. Craftsman at Sears. By Toyota, moving forward. By DirecTV. NASCAR Hot Pass only on DirecTV puts you behind the wheel. And by Can-Am ATV. The ride says it all.
Welcome back. Our 12th caution of the day has come out. It was the 52, and Schrader got turned around. We see the 10 on pit road. Yes, he did come down. It was a 59, actually, of Ted Musgrave that got turned around.
Well, I tell you what I'm worried about now. That buffer that Dennis Setzer had with Brendan Gaughan being there between he and Johnny Benson. Benson's got a pretty fast truck. So now I think Dennis has got his work cut out for him.
Back on the gas, the green flag back in the air. Dennis Setzer, Johnny Benson, Mike Skinner, Kyle Busch, Rick Crawford, your top 5.
I tell you, it just breaks my heart, though, that Brendan Gaughan had to bring that truck to pit road. We knew it was going to be awfully hard. Krista, what's going on down there? Was he out of gas?
No, he was not out of gas yet, and it is breaking Brendan Gaughan's heart right now, too. He was talking with his crew chief, Brian Berry. Brendan said, I would rather run out of gas trying. I do not want to come in. Brian said, we will run out with 20 to go. If we do not come in, we will look like, quote, yo-yos. They now said, Brendan, you have got to drive your butt off.
I believe I'd have stayed out. Anyway.
I'd have waited until my yo-yo broke its string anyway. Call me what you like.
Yeah, I would have loved to have been called a yo-yo if I could have been a hero and stayed out and there could have been more caution laps. So now it's Dennis Setzer, and he's put the same amount of distance between himself and Johnny Benson as he did with the 10 in between them.
Old school guy. I'm watching this lap monitor here. He just ran a 2019. Wow. That's 2/10 better than anybody can run behind him.
And that's about 2/100ths of a second slower than his fastest lap of the whole race.
Right. And so he's got a little something in the bank. I just don't want him to burn it all up here.
And he may not be. Dennis Setzer is so smart, Darrell. He may have another 10th left there.
I just wonder if Johnny Benson's got anything left.
Kyle Busch all over the back of the 5 of Mike Skinner. Kyle Busch trying to make it 3 wins in a row in 2008. Mike Skinner would like to make it 3 wins in a row at Martinsville.
That's a rock between 2 hard places right there. Now you got Skinner in front of you and Rick Crawford behind you.
Travis Waffle running 10th right now. Got a good run going. Up in the top 10 is Zaxby's truck. See right out in front of him, that's David Starr. David has battled his way back to a top 10 run.
Running in the 9th spot now as we see Dennis Setzer lead the field off of 4 and across the start-finish line. At 14 of Rick Crawford.
Currently being shown in the 5th position. That 88 truck of Matt Craftsman is catching him. Matt, we saw him right behind the 52 of Ken Schrader right before that caution flag. He was able to get by Kenny. Now he's taken off after the 14 of Rick Crawford, moving to the inside.
Side by side. Drag race down the front stretch.
Now you got to give. You know, at this point in the race, you got to give. Otherwise, you knock him up out of the groove and you lose a bunch of spots.
Matt Craftsman moving forward. Rick Crawford drops back a spot.
20 to go. I don't think there's enough time for him to get to the leader, particularly with the leader running as quick as he is. Dennis Setzer just ran a 2018. But you know why he ran a 2018? Because the cat behind him ran a 2019.
He sees Johnny Benson in that rearview mirror.
See, Matt Craftsman has some clean racetrack now. He sees nothing in front of him but that 51 truck of Kyle Busch. He may be able to catch that battle for the 3rd spot with Skinner and Busch.
Kyle Busch made a strategic move to stay out. Problems again in turns 3 and 4. This time, it looks as though it's the 20 of Scott Lagasse Jr. that got turned around. And that brings out another caution. 13 on the day. Now, it's Brendan Gaughan just absolutely chewing on the steering.
No, he was like that before. Yeah. When he came down pit road, there was some contact between the 0-3 of Chrissy Wallace and the 20. You see Chrissy down on the inside. She's going to commit down to the bottom. The 20, as we talk about, takes his normal line into the corner, and Chrissy was committed to go to the inside there. Wasn't quite up there, but
when you got to go to the curb, you're going in too low, and you're not cutting that guy in front of you slack. Not that you have to, but proper etiquette would be to give that guy on the outside a little room or getting in.
When does proper etiquette go out the window at a short track?
About 20 laps to go.
Yeah, right. We're in that window.
Well, you see Scott Lagasse obviously getting turned back around. The caution lights had come out. 13th caution, the record here, 16 cautions. We don't want to break that record. We broke a track record earlier today when Jack Sprague set the new track record in qualifying. Chrissy Wallace making her first ever start in the Craftsman Truck Series.
Well, if nothing else, you know, she got the free pass, like you said, and she's on the lead lap. That's a pretty good accomplishment in your first race to come here on the lead lap. Truck's in pretty good shape.
You've really got to, I guess, not have great expectations. You always want to think that you can accomplish a lot of things, but you have to keep those a little bit in check when it's your first ever race.
The first thing is you want to survive. You want to stay out there. You want to survive, and you don't want to make any enemies. You know, when you walk out of here today, she wants to walk out with her head held up high. Everybody says, you did a great job for your first race.
Tony Stewart helping out again. See him on top of the pit box.
And I think it is a tremendous accomplishment for her to be here, her first ever NASCAR race, run all day. She got a lucky dog. She got back on the lead lap. If she can finish this thing off on the lead lap, whether she finishes 24th, which is where she's running now, or 23rd or 25th, it's still going to be a great day for Chrissy Wallace.
I gotta agree. I mean, she's shown, here's something I always look at in a new driver, track presence. She's known where she is, and I know that may say, well, what do you mean? She knows where she is. She knows where all the people around her are. That's good track presence.
And the truck is relatively clean. I mean, there's a few bumps and scratches on here, but for her first short track race, relatively clean truck.
I give her a B+.
Not a bad grade from a guy who's won here 11 times, 11 grandfather clocks. We were listening into Chrissy and her father talk on the radio just moments ago.
Hey, I was on the bottom.
He didn't do anything wrong. He just decided to try to close the door. That's nothing wrong.
Tough role that Mike Wallace has to play. Spotter, father. You didn't do anything wrong.
He ducked in here right before he went upstairs to the spotter stand. I said, now, you have a spotter's pass or a dad pass? He said, I have a dad pass.
I haven't really seen him smile much up there. He's been pretty tense. All right.
Not much of a smile still for Mike Wallace.
Get ready.
15 more, picking them up and putting them down. And
green flag, green flag.
As usual, Dennis Setzer, an immaculate restart.
Less than 7 miles remain in the Kroger 250. 14 laps of racing to go. Dennis Setzer, can he hold off Johnny Benson and Mike Skinner?
I just like the way that old truck, it's got its head down. It's got its old duck head down, its old tail up, and it's hunting.
See Kyle Busch ducked to the outside of Mike Skinner. He got up about halfway up on him, just couldn't quite hold it there on the outside.
No problems. Jack Sprague gets turned around coming out of 2, and a hard hit by Shelby Howard in the 13 as well. Our 14th caution, we saw 13 previous yellow flags fly. And now this time it is Jack Sprague getting turned around and then Shelby Howard getting into the side of him. Hard contact there. You see the damage to the left front.
Well, our pole setter has had an adventurous day, I must say. Started off great, but hadn't ended up so well.
There's Kevin and Delana Harvick, the truck owners right there up on top watching.
Let's take another look at what just took place coming out of turn 2.
See the 30 of Ty Bodine goes by.
Looks like the 2 was trying to fall in behind the 30, and didn't leave enough room.
Yeah, made a little contact, I think, with a 60 truck of Terry Cook, and then Shelby Howard came along with absolutely nowhere to go.
From nowhere, and that's a shame. Shelby had a great qualifying run and was sitting in pretty good shape.
Had a good truck today. Teammate to Matt Crafton. Shelby Howard is.
Crafton's up there in 5th, and Shelby was running pretty good.
And Brendan Gaughan dies a slower death each and every caution lap.
This is when you're just wanting to...
I think, Darrell, that's one of the times when I tell my crew chief, I can't, my radio's not working anymore. I don't know what you're saying. I'll talk to you after the race.
Oh, Brendan
Gaughan. I can't hear you.
Let's check back in with Chris and Jeff in the Hollywood Hotel.
All right, thanks, Rick. 5 leaders, 8 different lead changes, and now 14 cautions, and Dennis Setzer still hanging on. It's the race that will not end without caution. Forget caution to the win.
Martinsville short track race,
yes,
baby.
And now under the red flag as we take care of the track. With 11 laps remaining here, Johnny Benson running 2nd, Mike Skinner 3rd, and Kyle Busch has maneuvered his way up to 4th.
I just don't think he has anything at all for Dennis Setzer. Right now, it's Dennis Setzer's race to lose, at least in my estimation. This truck has been too flawless all day. He has definitely just been on track all day long. He has not bobbled one bit, and whenever they put pressure on him so far, he just steps it up a little bit, Chris. So it's going to be one of those situations where he's going to have to either spin the rear tires, cut one down because of debris on the racetrack, or somebody's going to have to knock him out of the way. I mean, they're going to have to run in there and just basically put the bumper to him to be able to get around him. Otherwise, it's going to be the battle is going to be for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
I did want to mention, we're wearing these pins, of course, and you've seen the public service announcement during the course of the broadcast, autismspeaks.org, helping to raise awareness and to do whatever you can. We certainly appreciate that as the driving community, NASCAR community, active as well.
Donnie Leah right there in the 71, last year modified champion, doing a great job today, racing here at Martinsville. Good racetrack for him, running 12th right at the moment. But, yeah, like you're saying, Chris, the pins pretty much say it all, that, we here at Fox really want everybody to understand that we support autism, and we'll do whatever is necessary to try to get that awareness, focused in on.
I want to get your reaction as we go back to Brendan Gaughan and the discussion there. I know putting yourself in that position.
All right. Got to go there, right?
But, yes, but what would you, as the crew chief there with that debate going on, what would you have called in that situation?
It's always a catch-22, but I'm going to call it just like the way I saw it. Number one, I wouldn't have put Brendan in that position to begin with. I would have come down within my window instead of staying out. But once he went that far, he should have went ahead and just basically run it dry and see how the caution flags fell, because they had a really solid run going, and it looked like he was just, pretty much riding his and biding his time. So you hate to see somebody who had that strong run all day long lose it on a miscalculation. And that, again, I hate to blame somebody, but the crew chief should know where the window is, and he needs to get inside that window, when it's appropriate. Everybody else did it today, and he missed it by a big margin of almost 40 laps.
Brendan Gaughan hoping to be in the final 4, if not winning it, and he's currently 20th. Chris Voda has a little bit more on that discussion with Brendan Gaughan. Krista?
Well, Chris, Jeff, what makes it even harder really to take is Brendan's personality. He is a go-for-it kind of guy. He said, I would rather go for it. I do not want to come in. He is the type of guy that goes down swinging. He throws it on 3rd and long. Brendan Gaughan has not said anything during this red flag period. He is just beside himself. Before that last caution, he said, I wish we had gone for it. So I guess my question, we heard Jeff's take there as a former crew chief. Darrell, who gets the call, driver versus crew chief on that one?
Who has the steering wheel?
I thought that's what you were going to say.
That's the guy that I would say. If it were me, I know what I'd have been doing. I would have been staying out. I always tell Jeff, and I tell anybody, look, I can get that mileage. Don't worry about it.
But you always did, Darrell. You ran 150 miles at Daytona before anybody had ever run fast longer than 125.
Talent.
Well, we talked about Brendan Gaughan, a little gambling in the background there, too. Trucks rolling once again at Martinsville Speedway. Getting inside of 10 laps of racing to go at the short track, the paperclip we call Martinsville Speedway, and I think we've seen about what we were expecting to see. We've seen a dominant performance right now by Dennis Setzer at the end, but we've seen a lot of bumping and banging.
Everything's worked out just like we said it would. Strategy in the pits, you know, who's made the stop at the right time. Dennis Setzer's done that. All Dennis has got to do now is that thing that I always have to hammer in everybody's head. Don't beat yourself.
Right.
Don't let Johnny Benson get up there and make you do something that you haven't done all day long. Make a mistake.
You know, Jeff Hammond said it best. This is Dennis Setzer's race to lose. Dennis Setzer's not going to lose this race. He might get beat, but he's not going to make a mistake and lose this race because he's too good at this racetrack. On a weekend off last fall, he came here and won a 300-lap late model stock race. So Dennis Setzer knows this racetrack. He knows short track racing.
Another guy who comes into play in any finish of a truck race is the 51 of Kyle Busch. We were listening into his radio just moments ago.
I don't think I recorded this race. Yeah, they're still short on speed on Monday. I think it's like 11:30 in the morning. Hey, he said it's going to cost you this time, the guy from Fox, for the dub.
It's going to cost you this time. We're on Fox.
He records all of them because he knows he's going to be a big star in most of them.
Oh, my goodness.
But here's something to think about now. Something we hadn't had all day long, but we got now. Single file restart here. And that could play into Johnny Benson's hands because there's nobody in Johnny's way this time to make a run at Dennis going down into turn one. And I think if he's going to make a move, that's when he better do it.
That's when Dennis will be the most vulnerable, is right on this restart.
Yep. Brakes are cold, tires are cold, but Dennis did a great job. Got a good little restart there. Here comes Johnny Benson.
8 to go, and here goes Kyle Busch to the outside. Side by side with Mike Skinner through 2 and 3.
Might make that stick, but I don't think so.
He's able to stay with him through that corner. He's got a little bit of an advantage to see if he can hold it on the outside.
Into 3 and 4. Here goes Kyle Busch. He stays to the outside. Let's see if he can get by him.
Pretty hard. That's a tough pedaling out there, boys. I'm telling you. He might be able to make it.
Spin in turn 4, but no caution has come out as Chad Chapman gets it straightened back out. They're still side by side for third.
Dennis Setzer's loving this. He said, run side by side, guys.
Johnny Benson running second, trying to reel in that 18 of Dennis Setzer. Now Kyle Busch moves back behind the 5 of Mike Skinner.
It's just hard to make that pass out there. And that 5 truck, he really paid him a lot of courtesy by not pushing him up and getting him in the loose stuff and cost him a bunch of spots.
Now single file again as they come out of turn number 4, this time by the start-finish line. 5 laps of racing to go.
I got to tell you, that 18 truck has just, I'm impressed with how that thing is stuck to the ground all day long. Never has had a wheel out of place since this race started.
You know, that's why Gillette Evernham came over to Dennis Setzer when Elliott Saddle had his back trouble. We're going to learn more about tomorrow. And said, Dennis Setzer, if Elliott can't go, we want you to drive this car.
Might run out and buy me one for him to run tomorrow if I could.
So good at the short tracks, and especially here. He's won twice at Martinsville in the past, looking to make that 3 wins at this racetrack.
Just rolls her down in there, turns the wheel. Oh no!
Kyle Busch gets into the back of the 5, and Mike Skinner spins off, coming off of 4.
And nobody hit him. That is incredible. Incredible job by those guys to avoid him.
And the spotters.
Somebody did hit him.
Well, to start it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But after he spun, I'm talking about.
I don't think Skinner will be too happy with Kyle Busch now.
See, Kyle barrels it down into turn number 3. Ooh, Skinner just didn't go.
Skinner just had it almost like he didn't go.
Or maybe ran out of fuel, possibly?
He could be, because he looks like he's out of gas. He's out of fuel.
That's what Skinner, it was, exactly.
Can't get it going again. He's creeping along the racetrack in turn 1 and 2.
Now that's a rotten break right there.
I think lap 80, the last time Dennis Setzer came down pit road, is the last time Mike Skinner came down pit road.
Oh, and close there. Kyle Busch was going to jump in behind him.
I think Kyle actually was thinking about pushing him, but then he realized that wasn't a good idea now.
Yeah, I don't think that's a situation you can blame it on Kyle Busch. No. He ran out of gas.
He's out of fuel.
Matt, did he run out of fuel down there?
That's what they're saying on the radio. In fact, Kyle Busch was going to help her brother out, give him a push, and then Richie Waters says, no, I think you should just let it go and stick to our own agenda here.
No, I think that's a great call on Richie's part and admirable on Kyle's part, but that wasn't the right thing to do right now.
Riding along with David Starr.
Come on.
Good job by David Starr's spotter right there. Good job.
Duck, man, I'm telling you.
Go low, go low. And David Starr did just that. Now Skinner's going to get the push from the safety vehicle.
Now is Dennis Setzer worrying now, because now he knows his crew chief has told him that 5 truck ran out of gas. They pitted on exactly the same lap back on lap number 80.
Well, I think Johnny Benson was in the same thing, because Johnny Benson came out right behind Dennis Setzer. He won that race off of pit road.
Same boat, Johnny Benson, and he's a teammate to Mike Skinner. You would think he would get very comparable fuel mileage.
I think here's the biggest difference. That's that Toyota in second place and Setzer in first place. that white truck might get a little bit better gas mileage. Just a guess.
And Dennis Setzer's been very good at conserving fuel when he needs to. He knows how to work his way around a short track.
Mansfield, he won last year, 250 laps, never made a pit stop.
Never stopped. So we'll see now if Dennis Setzer has enough fuel to make it all the way. How about Johnny Benson? He's the only thing that stands between Setzer and Kyle Busch winning 3 races in a row this season.
2 more laps. Green-white checker coming up here for Dennis Setzer.
But you got to give the 51 a pretty big pat on the back.
Oh, yes.
Not just the cat driving it, but once again, Richie Waters has come through. I know one thing. If I did these races every week, whatever Richie did, that's what I do.
Coming out of turn number 4, the green flag back in the air. We're back underway at Martinsville Speedway. 2 laps of racing to go.
Great restart for Dennis Setzer.
It really was.
It almost looked like Johnny Benson stopped a little bit there, maybe to make it look like Dennis Setzer jumped.
I think he was trying to lay back and get a run on him, but he didn't time it right.
Setzer's run a flawless race. Out of 4, the white flag in the air.
And the other thing is he wanted to be sure he had a cushion so that the 51 couldn't get a run on him.
If Dennis Setzer can keep enough fuel in this thing, he will win it for the 3rd time at Martinsville.
Here comes Kyle Busch. He's kicking the nose. Oh, no! Around goes the 23. Around goes the 51. And coming out of 4, Dennis Setzer will win at Martinsville.
Whatever. Oh, no.
The field going by the 51 and the 23. Now Kyle Busch gets it straightened back out as they celebrate.
That's just all wrong right there. I knew Kyle was going to make a run on him. He was going to try to get a nose under him, but
thank you, Dennis. Thank you, bud. You're awesome.
That was uncalled for, unnecessary.
What a finish for Dennis Setzer. The top 3 going into turn number 3. Dennis Setzer, Johnny Benson, and Kyle Busch. And here's what happened getting into 3.
This is one of those times when Kyle has got to learn. Some days you just take what the thing's going to give you.
I tell you what, this could be the first ever 2nd place finish for Matt Craftsman. This would be a career best finish for him.
Well, he came across the line in 2nd. Now we will go back and review whatever we need to. Depends on when the caution flag comes out. But I want to say Matt Craftsman is going to be 2nd because obviously Johnny and the 51 of Kyle Busch could not maintain the official speed.
That is exactly what it looks like. Dennis Setzer, his 18th career win in his 246th start. Welcome back. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series just finishing up the 4th race of the 2008 season. Let's head down to Victory Lane as Dennis Setzer about to climb out victorious. Krista.
And if you are a new viewer to the Truck Series, perhaps watching our series for the very first time on Fox, this is much more than a Dennis Setzer win. Dennis, you are the king of short tracks, but as we see the emotion, owner Lori Hamilton getting a hug from Dennis, this is much bigger. As we said, this is not just about Dennis Setzer, this is about Bobby Hamilton racing back in Victory Lane.
It is. You know, it's about Bobby Hamilton racing, the guy that started this deal, and, you know, is still carrying this deal on. This is a Bobby Hamilton chassis under this thing, something he designed and built. So I'm really proud of that. You know, Lori took this team and run it through last year and done such a great job. Now she's required some really good help from Joey Arrington, Mark Melling, Clay Campbell, Mac Bailey, a bunch of good guys right here. We appreciate all of them right here so much. And, you know, it's just special. You know, Dodge Motorsports has put a lot in this program, getting it where it is today. And, you know, we appreciate the opportunity.
You saw those late cautions. What were you thinking inside the truck? What was Marcus telling you as all those late cautions came out?
Just stay consistent, you know. Just don't do anything stupid. And, you know, he's seen me do that before, so I guess he was worried about that. But, you know, we're fortunate Duck had come on board this week. Really brought our program along. We're kind of doing week-to-week sponsors, and these guys are doing what they can to get by, you know. Milling parts and stuff's been on the truck. You know, we had a lot of good sponsors along with Dodge Motorsports and stuff. So, you know, Joey Arrington built a pretty special engine for this thing. He's an owner on this deal also. And, you know, I had dinner with his dad last night, and he gave me some instructions how I need to get off these corners. So, thanks, buddy. I appreciate all the information. But, you know, this is for Bobby. It's, like I say, it carries on his legacy right there. And so then honor my mother also. She's been under the weather.
and we appreciate it.
We see the emotion there in Dennis Setzer. The emotion for this entire Bobby Hamilton Racing organization. It's been nearly 3 years since Bobby Hamilton Racing was in Victory Lane. This one is special. Adam?
And a special day for the Wallace family as well. Chrissy Wallace making her NASCAR debut at age 19. You said a top 20, a top 15 would be good. 17th, you must be satisfied.
I'm extremely excited for the guys on Germain Racing Team. Thanks to Geico and Mobile for coming on board with us this weekend. We came home with a pretty much straight truck and got top 17, top 20 finish, and I'm really happy.
A great start for Chrissy Wallace, guys.
Yeah, an emotional day, not only for the one in Victory Lane, but also the two involved in the incident that took place on the last lap. And not only emotions, but maybe some fists thrown down there in that area.
It looked like there was something going on down there because there are a lot of people shoving each other around. I know that.
Kyle, what's going on with Matt?
Well, we've caught up with Kyle Busch. He's changed clothes. I don't know how you would describe this day, just a good old day of short track racing, but how would you describe the incident with yourself and Benson?
Well, I got a good run off of 2 and thought I could make a hole there in 3, and got in there, got a little bit of wheel hop, got into him, hated that we both spun out there. I was probably going to make it through there, but then I got hit from behind, so I got spun out too, so I've got a reason to be upset. But, you know, it started with me, obviously, but, you know, it's pretty pathetic that pit crew guys want to fight when what's happened on the racetracks between the drivers, and that's just unacceptable, and that's stupid. So, you know, my move was probably a pretty stupid move, people will call it, but, hey, I'm a racer. I'm going after another spot. I'm not happy with a third-place finish. I'm going to go for second if I've got a spot that I think I can get for second. And, you know, obviously, you know, stuff happens on the racetrack that happens on the racetrack, you know. So that's how I see it.
Every time he's on the racetrack, it's an e-ticket ride. Always exciting, Chris, watching Kyle Busch.
All right, thanks very much, Matt. We're going to get Jeff Hammond's point of view on that in a moment. Don't forget the truck racing. We've had our second broadcast of the Craftsman Truck Series on Fox. Now we move to speed. And, of course, Kansas, Charlotte, Mansfield. Mansfield, the shortest track for the Truck Series. For Cup tomorrow, 1:30 Eastern on Fox, of course. Martinsville, the shortest. Let's check the point standings. And Kyle Busch, who did wind up 26th in this race. Johnny Benson, 25th. Still your points leader. See Dennis Setzer with the big win today, and he'll be standing by to help out Elliott Sadler tomorrow should those back problems bother him with the success Setzer has had here on this particular track. I want to get your quick reaction to, and congratulations to Dennis Setzer, but, I mean, is Kyle Busch a little bit out of line? It's one thing to go for a win. You don't want to be third. It's another thing to take someone else out in the meantime.
Well, again, when you see short track racing, you can debate who was in the wrong right here. Last lap, you go for it. You get into some people every now and then. That's part of the lure of racing at a place like Martinsville. From my point of view, what he said is exactly right. Let the drivers settle it. The teams need to stay out of it. It doesn't need to get to what it was a few minutes ago. This is not Saturday night racing. This is professional NASCAR racing.
All right, as we look forward to tomorrow, 1:30 Eastern on Fox, Jeff Burton will join us live on the pre-race show. He's a native of Virginia, and it'll be 500 laps. Will we see more of the same? We had a track record equaling 16 cautions.
And you like to laugh at me? Yeah, you better get ready for some more of this.
We'll tune in for that. For Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers, TW, Phil, Rick, our entire crew, thanks for watching Truck Racing. We'll check out tomorrow here on Fox.
I'm going to get already just like that. Promotional considerations provided by
Hazel Marie Parsons passing away last week at the age of 84, survived by two sons, Steve and Phil, preceded in death by two sons, infant Richard Allen, and of course Benny Parsons, her husband Harold Parsons. Race fans everywhere express thoughts and prayers to the Parsons family.